Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Football was back in our lives this weekend for real. Not this preseason exhibition nonsense. That's put to bed, too. We took it out back. We yellered it. And now we're on to the regular season. Happy Monday. We're happy to have you for the next 3 hours. We got a jam-packed loaded show. You're really not going to have to deal with Lucas, Robert, and me as much as you normally would on a football Monday because we've got Holly Rowe of ESPN coming up next. We got Josh Pate in studio during the 11 o'clock hour, and former Titans center Ben Jones will be the nightcap, I guess not. The final hour is when Ben Jones will join us and talk all things Titans as we put a bow, mercifully, on the preseason for every NFL team. On to week one in college football this week, and the NFL not too far away. Less than 2 weeks from now, we will be kicking off in Denver, Tennessee, and Syracuse this weekend. We're fired up.
All things considered, this Vikings preseason game, as far as preseason games go, had some entertaining factors to it. Had some X plays, had a 65-yard catch-and-run touchdown by Van Jefferson.
Thought you were going to refer to the sex toy on the field.
There was that as well. Had a 63-yard field goal, longest field goal ever made at Nissan Stadium, preseason or regular season. So there were things that happened on Friday. But yes, everybody's glad that the roster will be at 53 tomorrow. And actual NFL football will be getting kicked off next Thursday. But we had real football on Saturday.
We had glorious, sloppy, ugly, turnover-filled, real football, baby.
In college football's heartland.
Dublin, Ireland. So K-State, Iowa State goes about the way that everybody expected it to go. Yes, I mean, I looked up at some point. I was watching the game while I was sitting listening to Brian Callahan, but not really doing too much other than watching the college football game on my laptop in front of me as he put a bow on their preseason and answered a couple of questions. It was actually a pretty productive Saturday press conference, given that there was really not that many things or not that many questions that we had for him to answer. But that was, what were we, a quarter and a half in by the time we got to the third fumble on the field? You had the red zone fumble by K-State that Iowa State recovered. Then you had the punt return fumble. Then you had the strip sack on the Iowa State quarterback. It was an unholy mess. Robert, you were saying your buddy bet the over on the amount of turnovers that were expected in that game and then cleared it?
Yes, after there was already 2 turnovers, he bet the over on turnovers and hit it.
A beautiful disaster, and exactly what you expect from week 0, 2 teams that are playing a week before anybody else has to start playing, and after flying over the Atlantic Ocean in what is a rivalry game, field conditions were suspect, weather was suspect. It was everything that you could have possibly wanted it to be.
So technically, by ranking, Iowa State pulls the upset. number 22 over number 17, K-State. 24-21 in a game that was far more dramatic than even that score might indicate. And now we're on to the real thing, even though we got a taste, we got a little hit.
It's the chips and dip
to get us through. Oh, this is the appetizer.
Yeah. Week 0 is the chips and dip.
Oh, so it's not even an appetizer. Chips and dip is like what you eat before you go to dinner and then order the appetizer.
It's, whatever floats your boat. It's the spinach artichoke dip. It's the mozzarella sticks. It's the caprese salad, the bruschetta, if you want to get classy
12?
with it. I mean, come on. Who doesn't like some good mozzarella sticks?
Not before you go to dinner.
What's the preferred appetizer around here?
Between the three of us?
Robert?
That's tough.
What's
I guess
the
it depends.
instant go-to?
Okay, instant go-to? Is this like a nice restaurant? Is this like a Chili's?
Anything. Like if you could pick one.
No, I feel like we have to be specific because otherwise I'm just going to feel full 1%er.
I would pick calamari.
Oh,
calamari is a good submission because you could get that at a TGI Friday. TGI Friday still a thing?
I don't think so.
They are.
And I also don't think you can get calamari.
Are you
there.
sure?
Yeah, I know you can get them at Red Lobster.
I sat at a bar at a TGI Fridays in the São Paulo airport in Brazil this summer. So yes,
just because they still exist internationally
they do
does
still
not mean
exist
that
in
they
Brazil.
are still going
They're down there like,
domestically.
thank God it's Friday. I need a mozzarella stick. If it was a basic one though, or if I was going to draft one for Cheyenne,
Calamari's pretty basic.
Yeah, but it's a great one because it can be a basic thing that you just find on an Applebee's menu. It can also be something classy, a little lemon squeeze.
A aioli.
If Cheyenne was picking, she would pick Southwest egg rolls.
Oh yeah,
What is
Chili's?
a Southwest egg roll?
Come on, at Chili's?
It's got like
Buddy, when do you think this is the last time I ate at a Chili's?
meat and corn and cheese, and it's just like an egg roll that you can dip into things.
Myself, Megan, Robert, and Cheyenne, after Joseph Bonanno's wedding
I totally
in April,
forgot about this.
we went to Chili's after the wedding to watch the end of the Houston Duke Final Four game. We got, because you can do like
the only bar?
You can do, and we were like in Shelbyville, I
We
think.
got triple dipped, baby.
Yeah, you get the triple dipper, and I'm pretty sure we got one with nothing but Southwest egg
It
rolls.
was like, we need to triple the triple dipper, all of those big-ass SpongeBob-shaped mozzarella blocks to give people.
Southwest egg rolls 3 times. So yeah, that's the week 0 of the college football season. It's the Southwest egg rolls. Week 1 is the what at Chili's? The fajitas?
It may be like it wouldn't be a Caesar salad because it's more filling than that. Yeah, but fajitas is a lot of sizzle, so yeah.
Everybody's turning their head as it's walking
who
by.
got
It's
this?
making noise.
This
It
guy's
smells good. It feels good outside. It feels like fall right now.
It really did. When I went to work out this morning, I was a little late, so I was leaving the house at about 6. It felt, honest to God, like it should be a football day. Like that there was a crispness to the air. There was a little bit of mist over beautiful downtown Nashville, Tennessee. It feels like football. The football gods want us to rejoice in K-State, Iowa State, and all the slop that will come after that.
I almost called out today just to mow my yard. It felt so good, just so I could be outside.
So if I go with bone marrow as my preferred entree, can I get that at a Chili's? They have bone marrow at a Chili's?
I'm sure they have bones and which have marrow in them.
Have y'all ever had bone marrow before? I was not expecting to like that as much as I did just because of the consistency, but that is excellent.
You can make it at home, too. Go to your butcher and be like, give me some big bones, give me a femur, give me some of this, and you can do it at home. Get you a wire sheet.
Get a little grilled toast points or something like that to put the bone marrow on. Ooh.
There you go. My dad is like one of those waste not, want not people. So whenever we kill a cow, he does that. Like he will debone everything, take the bones, make bone broth out of them. He is a regular leave no trace kind of guy.
Patricia on YouTube says that she needs, or the audience needs, a video of the two of you taking me to Chili's the way that you held me hostage last year during the eclipse and we went to Red Lobster in the middle of the day.
That was terrible. I do regret that.
No,
Red Lobster?
I'm sorry. It was terrible.
You got something bad, dude. You didn't get something good. I remember specifically
Wasn't that in the midst of their bankruptcy before they were bought by a new corporate overlord?
The news
and now
had
they're
not
doing
yet broken.
The news had not yet broken.
I feel
about
like
the
you got in
bankruptcy.
shrimp scampi. You got something that wasn't reputable.
I can't remember what I got.
See, now we have to go back and try it again because they have bowl in a bags now.
It was the only thing close to me in Beaufort, Georgia for a couple of days, and I honest to God thought about going to sit at the bar at Red Lobster.
Just get some biscuits, dude. Those biscuits slap.
Austin, yeah, they do. The biscuits still hold up. Austin P90X on the FNM Bank chat says week 1 is the brisket tacos for me.
P96. Okay. Are you reading correctly?
P96. Remember P90X?
I do. I've still got those DVDs.
I'm pretty sure we did those in high school before we went on spring break for the first time because, we're going to be ripped. We're going to be shredded. Sean T. P90. No, am I thinking of something different?
Sean
T is insanity.
Yes.
Sean T is insanity.
So it's a beautiful week for all of us football fans, media alike. But obviously, a lot of players will receive bad news across the NFL, hundreds of them this week.
Way to be a wet blanket.
Well, I bring it up to say, are you somewhat surprised that we had no reports, no leakage of Titans roster cuts over the weekend?
I don't think they started. They had everybody in for practice. I think that stuff's going to start in earnest today after they get through meetings and stuff like that, which kind of sucks.
Deadline is 3 p.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't love that as a just on principle, to bring guys in after the final preseason game to put dudes through workouts, all these different things, rather than just, letting them know. Because, how many jobs were realistically up for grabs in that preseason game? Over under 5.
I mean, Jimmy Wyatt
I would probably go under.
Jimmy said during our pregame segment on Titans Countdown, even before the game, they probably have their 53 mostly figured out.
And even then, they have the 48 because the 53, everything between 48 or 46, no, it's 48. 48 and 53, those guys are probably going to be subject to release or waivers after that because they've got the first waiver claim. They've got the number 1 pick in the waiver claim order.
Yeah, it's more about who they could bring in with that number 1 selection, so to speak, in the waiver order than it is who could have snuck onto the roster with a performance on Friday.
Now, the Vikings have wasted no time since that preseason game concluded. Titans legend Leroy Watson just got waived.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The who played on Thursday? The Colts or the Giants played Thursday and released a bunch of people Friday morning.
Falcons had I think a list of 12 players that they cut immediately after their preseason game. So I mean, I don't know. I suppose they're going to say that we were being thorough. We wanted to make sure that we got it right, this, that, and the other. We wanted to take every last second of opportunity to make sure that we got the best 48 or 53 players on the roster no matter what. But I mean, just do it. Just drop the axe already. If I'm a player in that locker room on the fringes, if I'm Xavier Restrepo or who's another reserve that we don't expect to be there before long?
Jamar Jefferson,
preseason legend.
Did some good things.
Yeah.
He and Jordan Mims did some good things.
No, for sure. Drop the axe, though. Just get it going so that they can have the opportunity to be claimed, or at least to start those conversations with other teams that also saw them perform admirably in the preseason and say, yeah, come on to our roster, or at least our practice squad. Now, that's the thing that kind of keeps all of this up in the air, that they're going to have to wait a little while to put together their practice squad. And so perhaps they want to, be a little more thorough as far as who they subject to waivers right away before they can actually put together the 16-man practice squad. So Titans preseason over. Cam Ward, 2 touchdown drives in 7 offensive series, no touchdown passes for the number 1 overall pick. I don't know how much hand-wringing there's going to be about that because he almost had one to Alec Imanner, which would have sent the entire internet ablaze, it feels. But, yeah, it was solid. I thought it was solid across the board. Do we have an appearance from Ramon Foster on the bat phone line?
Ramon is called in. What's going on, big dog?
What's up, big fella?
I did. I wanted to tell y'all the reason they bring those guys in like that, allegedly, is so they can get them to practice, so they can see if they're healthy, so somebody can't pull hey, I was injured, and they get an injury settlement. That's why some teams do it, so you can remove the injury clause from cutting them.
This is excellent knowledge by you.
Making us smarter.
Yep. That's all. I was just going to tell Bert that. I didn't know I was coming on air. Okay.
Hey, love you, Moan.
That's why. No problem.
Thanks, buddy.
Always looking out for us.
Slay's just always lingering in the background there too, but mostly to make jokes at our expense. Ramon is there to provide valuable information, so we appreciate that. All right, so cost-saving measures potentially as to why they can bring those guys into practice, make sure that they're all ready to go and avoid any injury settlements that they may be subject to. Holly Rowe is going to join us coming up next. Of course, you know her for all of her work on the sidelines, not just for college football, but across the ESPN spectrum. She's been doing excellent work for 20 years. She's going to visit with us on behalf of Allstate. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Speaking of the best at what they do, Holly Rowe of ESPN going to join us here in just a second. No better way to start week one of the college football season than with one of the most experienced sideline reporters in the game. LSU Clemson is the game that she and the rest of her broadcast crew, which of course features Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler, will be a part of. That's a 6:30 p.m. local time kickoff between the number 9 LSU Tigers and the number 4 Clemson Tigers. The battle of the real Death Valley, yes?
That's right. I don't know how many times LSU and Clemson have played in their history. It's not a matchup that I can think of any that come to mind, any big-time games between those two in their history, apart from the national championship between Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence.
Clemson is a 4-point favorite at this point in time. Brian Kelly has yet to win or yet to beat a week one opponent as the head coach of LSU since he has been at LSU. And this is, if I'm not mistaken, heading into year 4 for Brian Kelly as the head coach of his Tigers. I don't know. Who do you root more against if you're a college football fan, Dabo or Brian Kelly? It's probably Brian Kelly.
That's a good question.
But Dabo is not an overwhelmingly beloved figure.
It's only the fifth meeting between the two. LSU is 3-1 in the previous 4. Yeah, I think Brian Kelly is probably the average college football fan would prefer to see Brian Kelly's downfall than Dabo Swinney's downfall. I think there's a lot of college football fans that love the way Dabo Swinney has built his program, and to his credit, has been consistent in his messaging on building that program.
Yeah, but how many of those are in his own fan base who are looking around and be like, Dabo, all right, let's get it going with the transfer portal.
Well, yeah, and they have in their own way, and here they are poised for a run at national championship contention with one of the best wide receiver rooms in college football, one of the best defenses theoretically, and one of the best quarterbacks. Got a chance to prove a lot of people wrong this year.
Let's get a little smarter because God knows Lucas and I could use some education on a regular basis, and we'll welcome in Holly Rowe of ESPN, who's here on behalf of Allstate, the NACDA Good Works team, and the great work that they have been able to do together. Holly, thank you so much for taking the time. Happy football season to you.
How are we doing? I was sitting here for a while, and I was like, hey, I actually have information about Clemson LSU. Bring me in. I'm ready to tell you. I was waiting.
Well, she said, shut up already. Get out of the way. So, Holly, obviously, you're going to be on the sidelines for this game. We're looking forward to seeing you back on the sidelines. Obviously, you've been keeping busy year-round, but there does have a little bit more juice to football season, it seems. So what are the most intriguing storylines to you about this particular matchup, as we said, the Battle of Death Valley?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. You guys were just talking about the transfer portal, and Clemson has dipped a little bit into the transfer portal with some key positions. They've got 3 guys that they brought in at a really high level, and I believe all 3 of them will, if not start, play in this game. One is a big 6'5" receiver, Tristan Smith, who's going to be really good for them. I've heard that he's like a great possession receiver in the back corner of the end zone, a guy that size they have not had. And then Will Helt is a defensive end for Purdue, who was very productive for the Boilermakers. He's slated to probably start at the defensive end position for Clemson. And then a linebacker coming in right now, I think he's probably second on the depth chart, but Jeremiah Allen, he's been really good for Alabama. He's been kind of a role player, didn't play a ton, but he was a 5-star recruit that came down to Clemson and Alabama, and now he has transferred to Clemson. So, Dabo hasn't done a ton with the recruiting in the transfer portal, and he likes to say it this way: our locker room is our transfer portal and our best recruiting, because they have 8 returning starters on both sides of the ball. So that should tell you something. It's outrageous in this day and age that they didn't lose more players to the transfer portal. That should tell you that these young people like being there, like playing for Dabo.
She's Holly Rowe of ESPN. She's here on behalf of the Allstate's Fall Good Works team, helping to shine a light on student-athlete leadership, character-driven initiatives, and overall community impact. We'll hear more from Holly on that in just a second.
Holly, it would be hard to pit 2 more interesting programs in the context of 2025 together to kick off the season, right? Not just because they could very well both be national championship contenders, but because both coaches, and Dabo and Brian Kelly, kind of have this thing in common where their resume is unquestionable. It's among the best in the sport in terms of active coaches right now, but there's also been this interesting pressure cooker feel between them and their fan base with how Dabo has operated with the changes in college football in recent years. And Brian Kelly, obviously, maybe not getting the results as quickly as LSU fans expected them when he arrived on campus. Which head coach do you feel has more to prove in this game to kick off the season?
Yeah, it's a great question because I think really Dabo's not a guy that feels like he has to prove anything. I think he's very secure in who he is. I heard you guys say, like, who do people root against the most? And I kind of disagree with what you said. Dabo Swinney is a great dude. He's somebody that if you're around him for 5 minutes, you'd be drinking his orange Kool-Aid too. He's a motivator. He's positive. He's a really great person. I don't think people root against him. I think people didn't like what he said about the trend. You know, everybody else is doing it. And he was kind of calling people out like, well, we're not going to do it that way. That might not have been popular. But so he has more pressure on him to win because his roster's intact. This is a team that made it to the college football playoff, the ACC championship. And he's got a really good pro-level quarterback returning in Cade Klubnik. So to me, all the pieces are there for them to make a legitimate run at a national championship. So maybe the pressure is higher on him. Brian Kelly, you know, I don't know. I think he's a really good coach. He's had incredible success. One of the winningest coaches in college football history. He hasn't gelled with that fan base at LSU, and that will be fixed by winning, right? I've heard that they've got in a lot, you know, they're the opposite. I think they've brought in like 14 to 17 transfers, and many of them might start on defense. I read one report where they might have almost everybody starting on defense is a transfer either last year or this year. So he's kind of doing it a different way, but I do think that he's got a lot of pressure on him from his fan base because they haven't meshed from a personality standpoint. But what solves that for LSU is winning.
Holly Rowe will be on the sidelines for that game. 6:30 Central kickoff between LSU and Clemson on ESPN, on ABC this Saturday night. Week 0, we got some football, actual football last weekend, Holly, and couldn't have been a sloppier or a more enjoyable, wacky game to watch than Iowa State, K-State in Dublin. Iowa State ends up getting the win. We've asked this question a lot this offseason. How many teams can feasibly win the national championship in 2025? And the answers vary from 8 to 9 to 10, whatever it might be. Holly, how many teams can win the Big 12 in 2025?
Oh my gosh, I think a lot. I actually live in Salt Lake City, and so I've been hearing a lot about Utah. I think Utah is going to have a rebound year. They had a disappointing season last year, but they've got a quarterback that everybody's raving about. A running back that could be a game changer. So I think Utah is a team that I would put in the top. I think Baylor ended the season really well. Dave Aranda trying to get the things right there. But the way they ended the season, that is something to take a look at. And then TCU is a team that I'm looking at. I have their first game at North Carolina Monday night, Bill Belichick's debut. So, you know, there's a lot of teams. And then you look at the roster that Texas Tech bought. Texas Tech spent more money than anybody else in college football. They have brought in a ton of talent. So can Joey McGuire get it going there? And then SMU, you know, they had a great run last year in the ACC, but they're a team that is going to play some of these Big 12 teams, and that's going to be challenging in the non-conference. So I think there's a lot of teams in that conversation, to be honest with you, but I would start Utah as a team that I've really got my eyes on, and then TCU trying to have a bounce-back year. And they have one of the best returning quarterbacks in the country in Josh Hoover, so that's going to make it interesting for the Horned Frogs.
Legendary sideline reporter Holly Rowe is here with us on 104.5 The Zone on behalf of the All-State NACDA Good Works team, doing great work in communities around the country. You bring up being on one of Bill Belichick's games there, Holly. I mean, is there a more fascinating figure in the landscape of college football this season just because simply of the unknown?
Right. I think you hit it on the head. People are intrigued for a lot of different reasons, right? I think there's stuff that's going with him off the field that people are interested in. But the biggest question to me is people want to know, is he really as great as we saw with the Patriots and his run in the NFL? Can he bring that level of greatness to college football? Is it something that he can transfer and translate? So, you know, North Carolina was on the cusp of good things with Matt Brown. But I think that people want to know, can he take it to the next level? So we're going to find out Monday. I think there's a lot of questions. They've got a lot of people that transferred in. So can they gel quickly against a pretty good TCU team that finished the season on a run and have some returners? Can North Carolina handle that with all their new faces, new players?
Holly, I know I'm not going to be alone in this on Saturday. I'm going to be an absolute wreck watching Lee Corso's final day on the College Game Day set, his farewell show for that Texas-Ohio State game. Can you just even begin to put into words what it's been like to watch Coach Corso's impact while working in the same ecosystem?
Yeah, I think he's done it with such grace and positivity. Like you never heard Lee Corso in all of his career bashing people and being negative and being ugly and talking poorly about people. I think it's a great lesson that you can be in sports media and be the uplifting person that gives people the benefit of the doubt and brings out the good in things. So I think that's kind of his legacy. He's 90 years old, and the last few years, anytime I'm doing a game that Coach Corso's at, he comes and stands down by me on the sidelines. And I'm looking over, I'm like, you're 90 and you're standing through this whole game. I love it. He's just been wonderful.
Well, Holly, we so appreciate you stopping by, but we can't let you go without asking you about the work that you and Allstate are doing through the Good Works team and what makes it such a special an initiative to you and so many people impacted around the country.
Yeah, so you guys have heard of NACTA, or you've heard of the Allstate Good Works team forever, probably. Tim Tebow was on it. Kirk Cousins was on it back in the day. Well, they've expanded from college football to all sports, all genders. And so I'm actually here in Chicago. We got to go to a Loyola Chicago soccer game yesterday and surprise their goalkeeper, Aiden Crawford, that he is the captain for this year. And he's a young man that started a Special Olympics chapter at Loyola from the ground up. We talk a lot about what's wrong in college sports and what's wrong with NIL. Well, these young people are doing community service that would blow your mind. So I don't know if you know my work, but I love to focus on the positive and the happy stories in college sports. So Allstate gives me a chance to do that with these people. Adam Randall is running back for Clemson. He's going to be a member of the Allstate Good Works team. So I just love pointing out all the wonderful things that kids are doing off the field, off the court, but also with their NIL. We always talk about NIL like it's this, bad specter, this shadowy thing. And I love it because now this young man, Aiden Crawford, is going to get NIL donation to his Special Olympics project. So instead of getting that money for himself, he's making sure that goes back to his community and to Loyola Chicago. So really positive, cool stuff happening. If you want any more information, you can look at my bio on social media at Sports Siren and learn more about this year's roster and all these young people who are doing really cool stuff.
Well, thank you so much, Holly, for the time, and very humble of you to say if you know my work, as if we haven't seen you on the WNBA, the Women's College World Series, college football, and everything else that you've been doing. We so appreciate the opportunity to catch up and look forward to seeing you on the sidelines on Saturday.
Thank you. Appreciate your time today, guys. Have a good one.
That's Holly Rowe of ESPN. ABC will have the LSU Clemson game, 6:30 Central Time kick. We have a contract extension. Whoa!
That's right. We do have a contract extension. The Commanders and all-pro receiver Terry McLaurin have agreed to a 3-year, $96 million deal. That is $32 million AAV. The deal is done, and Scary Terry gets his well-deserved payday, while Jaden Daniels gets his star receiver back in his arsenal.
All right, that's way more than I thought he was going to get.
This is the right thing for the Commanders to do.
It is, but Robert, you are in agreement with me that you are surprised that a 30-year-old wide receiver who, is one of the best wide receivers in football, but probably fits more in the Calvin Ridley category than he does in the Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson category.
Yeah, super old rookie when he came into the league. I believe he was 24 or 25. So just investing this kind of money, I guess the only benefit you could say is, one, you have a rookie quarterback, so your cap space is a little more positive than it would be if you had a veteran on a contract deal. But a 30-year-old receiver, you've got him till he's 33. Those are the questions you have to ask yourself. Is Terry going to be – it's not this year. Of course, Terry has value this year.
Yeah.
But what if there is regression?
I want to see the structure of the deal.
Right. But I think also, comparatively, this makes the Calvin Ridley deal look incredible.
So good.
Yeah,
it's like Dan Moore. It's like Dan Moore. Listen, it's not to justify the amount of spending that they did for the lack of results that they got on the field specific to the Titans, but it's just the nature of the NFL, and it's only going to get bigger.
They had to keep Terry in the building. I mean, they just had to. Just the availability, for one. He's on 4 straight years of playing in all 17 games. The only season he's ever had where he wasn't a 1,000-yard receiver was his rookie year, where he had 919 yards. I mean, can we just name some Washington quarterbacks since the 2019 season.
Oh, this is a fun game. It's like doing this with the Colts.
Terry McLaurin came into the league. Like, who are we working with here? We're talking, this is around the time that Alex Smith, I believe. When did Alex Smith
It was after the
destroy
loss to the Titans.
Was it 2019?
Maybe he got traded because then he got hurt with the Commanders. He missed a year, or whatever they were called at the time, because he had that gruesome leg injury, right?
Right. That's what. So he was.
Terry McLaurin has played with 13 quarterbacks.
13 quarterbacks. And all he has done is produce. And then they get an actual quarterback in. And in Jaden Daniels' rookie year, Terry McLaurin almost doubled his career high in touchdown catches. So he just hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. The availability has been there. And they are very much in this window with how much we talk about rookie quarterback contracts. This deal had to get done. Even if you're going to overpay a guy who's about to be 30, he'll turn 30 in a little over 2 weeks on September 15th. They had to get this deal done.
Interested to see the guaranteed money. I think that'll be
that's where I'm at with you.
Where
too.
they can get out, because if it's $64 million, then 2/3 of this deal is guaranteed. They can't get out from him until year 3, but then they would be able to get out from him scot-free with no dead money. So, however this is structured will be the big implication. Would you guys like to know all of the quarterbacks he has received a pass from?
Can we name as many as we can?
Yeah, give it a shot. There's a couple on here you are not going to get because they were spot starters in COVID.
Are you going to take this?
He's definitely played with Alex Smith and Sam Howell.
Okay, boom. That's 2.
And now I'm struggling.
Taylor Heineke.
Okay, 3. Yep. Jaden Daniels, obviously.
Yeah.
That's 4.
Who was the Ohio State? Did he play with Dwayne Haskins?
Did he?
Haskins drafted in 19, so yeah.
He did play with Haskins. And who was their backup last year that played in one game?
He was in the same draft as Haskins.
Marcus
Mariota. Is there like a Joshua Johnson in there or something? Or Josh Johnson?
No, he's their backup right now. But there is a backup who is one of the most backups of all time, in Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh, he played with Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick on Thursday Night Football. His final stat line for Washington was 3 of 6 for 13 yards. He also, for the rest of the ones you did not name, Garrett Gilbert, who played one game with Washington. He had to play because Taylor Heineke and Kyle Allen both had COVID-19.
Is that the Texas quarterback from a couple years ago?
Texas,
Colorado
and then
State.
He transferred to SMU.
Okay, I'm all the way off.
Yeah.
Colt McCoy, who is also another Texas quarterback. Kyle Allen.
And Gilbert came in for McCoy in that national championship game against Bama in 2009.
And the last one you guys forgot was Carson Wentz.
Who has a job?
I covered that Wentz Commanders game against the Titans. That David Long saving the day at the end.
If you really wanted to be super sneaky, you could say former Virginia Tech quarterback Logan Thomas, who was a tight end for the Commanders, who I believe completed a pass to him at some point. But that's if you're going to be really sneaky about it.
Sam Hartman. Sam Hartman's still there, I'm pretty sure.
Hartman, he was also on the list. I glommed him with Howell.
The Vikings signed Carson Wentz this weekend.
Yeah, they were not thrilled with their backup quarterback situation, it seems.
Sam Howell didn't even play on Friday. I thought it was just going to continue because he's been battling with Brett Rippon all preseason.
How long has Brett Rippon been around? Me and Terry I almost said Terry McLaurin. Terry McCormick were debating very different Terrys, very different scary Terrys, both scary in their own right.
Since 2019.
Yeah. Is that it for Rippon? I thought he'd been around longer. But with the specific to the contract, so we'll run this through the prism of the Titans, because that's the thing that you care most about. If you look at Calvin Ridley's contract, the Titans could theoretically get out of Calvin Ridley's contract after this year. It's really a 2-year deal worth about, I would say, half of what it ended up being, because he got $92 million in the total contract, but only 46.9 of that was guaranteed. So his cap hit this year is significantly higher. It'll be $20 million plus the next 2 years. It is currently 22.4. But I want to see the way that McLaurin's deal is structured. Is it actually 3 years? Calvin's is really a 2-year deal if you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, where they would be able to get out from under his cap. Let's see what his dead cap hit is according to SpaTrack. It drops from 40.5 this year, which would be the dead cap number, to 13.02.
And there's a number of ways they could structure this, like outside of the normal 3-year contract length, where you've seen teams like the Philadelphia Eagles experiment with void years. So potentially after the 3 years that they've signed Terry for, there could be a $15 million void year option, where if Terry isn't re-signed, then that money goes to him, and he doesn't have to worry about not getting it. So, I mean, there's a number of ways they could finagle this number to look big, but not actually be as big as it really is.
Well, Jordan Schultz's reporting is that it is over $96 million. Adam Schefter's reporting is that it is up to $96 million.
Oh, Jesus.
Well,
agent fight.
Well, Schultz got it out first, so I assume
He's
got
doing the more favorable agent thing
yes,
there.
it's probably closer to what Schefter said.
Is Mike Vrabel aware that Jordan Schultz is his rat, or the agent that was talking to Jordan Schultz is the rat, not somebody working in the Patriots? Or you see that clip over the weekend?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Psychopath. Anyway, Cam Ward's preseason. We'll talk about it next. You want to be prepared no matter what the situation is in life, especially if you're responsible for your family, your loved ones, anybody who might be in your home, and anyone who might be impacted if your power goes out, whether it's adverse weather conditions or just day-to-day life circumstances that may cost you your power at any given moment. Premier Generators is here to help you. They will deal with all the details that are required to make sure that you can get a Generac certified generator in your home. All the minutia that you are worried about, you don't have to worry about, because Premier Generators will think through that process with you. There's nothing worse than being unprepared, especially if you're worried about your family's well-being, whether it's keeping your food safe, or if you're in a situation where you have a medical circumstance that relies upon electricity to keep you running the way that you need to. Premier Generators is there to make sure that you are taken care of. Call them at 1-855-POWER-IS-ON. That's 1-855-797-4766. 855-POWER-IS-ON, or online at premiergenerators.com. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. It is the time of year when rosters are being trimmed, and we should expect to see, I would imagine, by the end of the show, at least a few names that the Titans are culling their roster of.
I got an idea.
What is your idea? I'm sure it's going to be a good one with the smile that's on your face.
Instead of us just flatly reading these roster cuts, we need Ross to come in to give us roster cuts, where Ross would just be like, Titans are releasing
Joshua Bledsoe,
cornerback.
Well, I suppose the way that we could do that, since Ross is nowhere to be found today, is you could just keep him waiting on hold at certain points and then fade him up.
Yeah.
The way that we do with Slay, with Slay's
Just have them
lurking in the
send
background.
voice memos. And now we pause for a roster cut. Titans are releasing Davion Ross.
You know what? I actually like that better. I want voice memos. We will not as a show, can we agree that we will not as a show announce a Titans roster transaction without a voice memo from Ross?
I will call him right now.
Is that a lot of work on you?
No, it's more work on him. He's just got to send it
Well,
to
that's
me.
fine. He's not doing
He
it.
just has to email you voice memos.
Or would it be even worse if he just like sent him to my phone and I played them?
People are going to be so pissed. They're going to be putting them in the chat. Julius Chestnut cut. I mean, I don't know that Chestnut's getting cut, but like just an example. Chestnut cut. Talk about it. Talk about it right now. And then we wait 20 minutes for Ross to send us a voice memo. Oh, I love this.
Ross
It's
hasn't
going to
said
drive the
anything.
audience insane, which delights me.
I'm calling him.
All right, 615-737-1045 is the number. So the preseason is over, which is why the transactions are soon coming down the line. And with the preseason concluded, we have 7 drives of Cam Ward as the quarterback. Now, not in all of these 7 drives was he out there with Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley and Cam Ward only played together in the first preseason game. He was also without a few more starting offensive linemen on Friday night because J.C. Latham is dealing with a hip issue that they want to be precautionary with, and that's fine. It was the first time he was sacked. He was only sacked once in the preseason. And I know they're not throwing a bunch of stunts in games and exotic blitzes and zone exchange pressures and stuff like that he's absolutely going to see week 1 in Denver. But, for 3 games, 7 drives, I don't have the total snap count off the top of my head, but, 20-plus snaps. For him to not get sacked behind a Titans offensive line, that's a win, baby.
Cam?
Yeah.
Well, he was sacked.
Yeah, no.
Not behind. Oh, I see. Just behind the starting 5.
I'm saying he was only sacked once in 3 preseason games.
Yes. And with 3 backups in there.
Yes.
10 of 19, 145 yards, 2 for 2 in the red zone. Something that we saw as a work in progress throughout the course of training camp. They didn't always find a rhythm. Against Atlanta, they struggled out of the gates a little bit. There were 2 drops in that 10 of 19 stat line. But we did see 2 lengthy drives, 1 of 9 plays, 1 of 13 plays, that ended in touchdowns, orchestrated by Cam Ward. One of those, we saw 50 yards to Calvin Ridley. And the other one, ball's a little more spread out. I don't think you could have drawn up a better finish to his preseason than the series, that second series that Cam Ward got against Minnesota on Friday.
Felt pretty good about it. He finished that game after they pulled him out after the second drive against Minnesota, a game that they won. It's a preseason game, but still 23-13. So they finished with a 2-1 record in the preseason. Now, they were also undefeated in the preseason last year for all the good that it did them. So we'll see what translates, actually. But he was 3 of 4 for 36 yards on Friday night, a rating of 102.1. Lucas read you his aggregated stats, 10 of 19 for 145. No touchdown passes, but 2 touchdown drives. One a handoff to Tony Pollard from the 1-yard line. One a handoff to Julius Chestnut on the 1-yard line. He had an aggregate rating in these 3 games, Lucas, of 81.3.
Yeah, I like that we had to watch him dig out of a hole from an early penalty in the Tampa game. We had to watch him dig out of a hole from the sack that he took on Friday night. A couple of conversions, 3rd, 4th downs, and there you go. You put a bow on his rookie preseason. Robert, can we hear from Cameron Ward talking about the idea of having to prove himself to his teammates throughout the course of the preseason?
That was never important for me, to show something to somebody. I'm trying to prove myself to my teammates every time I step on the field. That's a big reason why I do it for the people in the building. And so I just think we're focused on, the next play mentality, and then we're also focused on week one. But I know what I'm capable of doing on the football field. Coach Callahan knows that. So I'm excited. He's going to put the ball in my hand. I'm glad he's doing it.
Your coach was just saying that through the preseason he's kind of had a governor on you so that you're not out there running around taking big hits. How much do you think you still have to show that maybe you didn't show in the preseason?
I just think I really got to show that gunslinger. And it's with, playing a full game. And then it's also just, Coach Callahan having the trust in me like he does. So I'm going to put a lot on tape on this year. My teammates going to put a lot of tape on this year. And so, we decide every week we get opportunity.
He's going to inspire just based on the way that he carries himself, the play that he brings, obviously. And I mean, you take him at his word, right? He thinks he's going to win every time he's out there. And I think it's, there's been moments where he's been frustrated by the idea that they won't let him go out for another series because he just starts to taste blood. He's like, let me go. I can do better. And obviously, what did Brian Callahan say? They have governors on him to make sure that he's protecting himself first and foremost. I think Callahan said on Saturday after the game or Saturday morning in the recap press conference that they had given him an edict from on down high. Don't run around. Don't take hits. Don't stay as clean as humanly possible during the exhibition stuff. And if you want to try and make something happen on the fly when we get to the regular season, be smart about it. But that is when the training wheels are coming off.
The Titans are releasing safety Joshua Bledsoe.
First official cut in the
first
book.
Official Ross.
That was
yes.
as underwhelming as I could have possibly dreamed. It was amazing.
The fact that it had the, what is that, the ESPN Monday Night Football sound behind it.
I thought that was the best music I had on hand to kind of accent it.
Ross Durkutz.
Who says I don't have good ideas? Oh, wait, hold on. Another one has come across my desk.
The Titans are releasing cornerback Davion Ross.
Another Ross cut.
Justin Mello is reporting these, by the way. I think Ross is not.
They're being exclusively reported by Ross Durkutz.
Ross has his finger on the pulse for the Ross cut.
Trying to give me a run for my money.
His phone's blowing up.
He sent me a text. I always read any of his text in his voice.
Please do.
Just sent the two I saw. Thanks, buddy.
Well done, Ross.
He's great.
Chris says, "Can I have another?"
Well, technically, we're going to get how many of these?
We're gonna have him working today. It's his off day, and we are gonna have that man slaving over voicemail.
They'll get sprinkled in.
Like I said, we will not react until we have Titans insider Ross. What's his last name?
Johnston.
Okay, Ross Johnston, Titans insider, reporting exclusively for the Buck Rising Show on the Titans transactions of the day. Josh Pate in studio next.
11 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. Titans wrapped up the preseason with a 23-13 win over the Vikings on Friday. Cam Ward, 3 of 4 for 36 yards, and the rookie got 2 series in. He led a 13-play, 90-yard touchdown drive, wrapping up his preseason. Roster cutdown day is tomorrow. The deadline for teams to get rosters down to 53 is 3 p.m. Central Time. Justin Mello reporting a couple of transactions, saying the Titans are cutting defensive backs Joshua Bledsoe and Davion Ross. College football season kicked off Saturday in Dublin. Iowa State winning Farmageddon 24-21 over Kansas State. Week 1 coming this weekend. And Nashville SC got back to winning ways Saturday, a 5-1 win over Orlando. Sam Surridge and Hani Mukhtar each with 2 goals. Surridge back to the top of the Golden Boot race. Nashville third in the East with 6 regular season games left. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Glorious college football back in our lives over the weekend, so that means we had to send up the bat signal. But is it really a bat signal or is it a freight signal for Josh Pate, the once and future college football commissioner? Joins us in studio now at Josh Pate, CFB, Josh Pate's college football show. New episode last night. If you want to consume it not live, the podcast is available for you. Hello, good sir. I'm so happy that we made it onto your agenda. You're a very busy man these days.
I mean this in all sincerity. I always walk in with a question, and I mean it as deeply as anyone can ever mean a question. How are you? How have you been?
I'm well, thank you.
I saw the preseason tour going on. I saw the Titans up and down, a little more down than up.
Perpetual.
So, I've got college football, so one team sucks, I just go to another team. You don't have that option. So I'm really pulling for you.
Don't do this. I'm going in with a good mindset this year. I'm going in with a good attitude. Don't spoil this for me. Don't do this to the listeners before I do it to them myself.
Yeah, I did notice your tone strikingly more positive, which made me worry. I texted you a couple times. Everything okay with the fam? What's going on? What are you trying to hide? That's what I wanted to know.
All fair questions, because after the unrelenting hell that was the 2024 season, I did not know if I would recover. But, new football season, new me, baby. We're back. We're better than ever, and we're happy to have you. How are you?
I've been good. The biggest fight I probably had over the past month is there's this, I'd call it about 0.5% of the college football internet that takes it ultra personal when you acknowledge that week 1 is the start of the college football season.
Yes.
And then you say, and I'm going to watch the week 0 games. Just pardon me if I reserve the official season kickoff title for the day when 98% of the sport kicks off. So that's the biggest fight. And as Mima always said, if that's the biggest fight you have on your hands in August, you're doing okay. So now we're going to tee it up this Friday. Auburn going to Waco, Texas for an out-of-conference game. Imagine being a freshman for Auburn and telling yourself that 10 years ago. You're going to kick off your college career in Waco, Texas, on a Friday night. How about that?
It's a little high school-esque.
At least it's not in Jerry World or something.
That is, you make a very, very underrated point. It's a very underrated point.
They put that game in Jerry World. They would do it.
It's been a chronic issue in college football. Now, I know Tennessee's opening against Cuse in Atlanta, but think about how many home campus games we got. Texas is going into Ohio State. LSU's going into Clemson. Auburn's going into Baylor. So I credit where it's due. At least people scheduled up, and they scheduled actually in the 100,000 seat buildings that only get used about 8 times a year. At least we're playing games in those buildings largely.
So Dublin, Ireland, a hotbed of college football that it is, hosted Farmageddon this weekend.
What a transition.
I mean, listen, bud.
A lot of farms.
A lot of farms, famously. A lot of fights, famously. Whether it be between an opposing quarterback's father and brother, who's to say, but what I witnessed was glorious. It got me through Brian Callahan's Saturday preseason, tie a bow on it press conference, because I just had the football on while listening to the press conference, able to multitask. I witnessed 3 fumbles in the span of a 20-minute press conference. It was delightful. Did you need a cigarette, or what's the plural of cigarette?
Cigarette.
Cigarette.
Yeah.
Sigarai, very quick with it. How did you consume Farmageddon, the disaster that was?
Oh, I consumed it sprawled. I was sprawled. That's the best word I could use to describe myself.
Poor Savannah.
I sprawled, and she turned away in disgust. She basically went radio mode. She said, "Turn it up so I can hear it from the other room." I can't deal with what's happening in here right now. So in as classless a manner as possible, in as gluttonous a manner as possible, I had 2 protein shakes instead of 1 before the game.
Good.
All right, so I was wasted, but with a WHEY on the front. I want to tell you something.
That's such a terrible joke by you.
I saved it for
How
2
long
years.
do we have to keep
I
it in
saved
here?
it for 2 years. I waited and waited and waited. I chugged my pre-workout on air. I never got to use that. You want to know what's more egregious than that? Wearing gloves when it's raining. I cannot tell you how many coaches I was texting with it was like 10, back and forth during that game, and every one of them was saying the same thing. The balls keep dropping. The balls keep going through the hands. And like everyone keeps saying, oh, they're just having trouble catching the ball. Oh, maybe that sailed a little bit on him. You go to the replay, like chin-high ball right at the chest, right through the hands. I don't know if people who are driving around the greater Nashville area right now have ever tried to wear those receiver gloves. In dry weather, it feels like a cheat code. But if it's raining, it actually serves as a deterrent to catching the football. And no one took the gloves off all day Saturday. Why? Because you don't look as good when you take the gloves off. And it doesn't really matter if we win by 3 or we lose by 3. Did you look good? If you looked good, you're not finishing last.
Josh Pate in studio with us, talking all things college football ahead of a glorious, spectacular week 1.
So we dubbed it the Southwest Egg Rolls of the college football season, week 0. And now we get the main course. Now we get the fajitas. And it keeps coming back to Chili's. You said on your show last night, 10 teams that you could see with a path to winning a national championship this year. That conversation's been had throughout the course of the offseason. I was talking to Brendan Marcello about it a few weeks ago. I think his answer was 8. I've heard 7. I've heard 9. When you say 10 teams could theoretically win the national championship, who's the one team or who are the 2 teams that you have lumped in there that maybe you'll get the most pushback on?
All right, so what I'm saying there is the ones that could get loose in the playoff. If they're in the field of 12, they legitimately could win the whole thing. Okay, so Texas, all the top teams can do it. So Texas can, Penn State, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, Notre Dame, Oregon, Alabama, LSU. I'm going to go Miami if they're in. One of the best line of scrimmage rosters. And if they're in, that means Carson Beck had a really good year and their pass catchers panned out. And their defense was revolutionized. They actually think secondary could be a strength for them this year because they portaled in a whole new secondary. South Carolina is a team I'm not predicting to be in the playoff. But if they're in the playoff, it means Lenora Sellers went off. And you guys are probably talking about him as the Saints' future quarterback. I'm talking about him as a guy who could really make South Carolina do something they've never been able to do in a playoff situation. Oklahoma and Florida are both teams that if they got in the playoff would be some of the most dangerous teams in the playoff because, again, it means quarterback is healthy for Florida and quarterback exploded for Oklahoma, which I expect to happen with John Mateer. So already listed over 10. Texas A&M is a team that if they're there, like I'm not predicting all these teams to be in there. It's not a 2014 playoff yet. But if they get in, then there are a lot of these teams. There's just no elite team right now. Did you hear, since you were talking about last night's show, I thought the best metaphor we've ever dropped on the show. And I said college football this year is the Nashville skyline. There is no 100-story tall skyscraper. It's just a bunch of really tall buildings. It could be the Batman building. It could be the Pinnacle building. It could be any of a number of buildings that end up standing out above the rest. But you can't see that from preseason. It's not like One World Trade where it stands out even above Manhattan. It's not that. So 5 years ago, that was Alabama. 5 years ago, that was Georgia. You had a couple of them. And in order for anyone else to win the whole thing, first, you had to tell me, I wonder what's going to go wrong with them. Well, I mean, Oregon could win the thing this year and nothing go wrong with Texas. Notre Dame could win the thing this year and nothing went wrong with Alabama. It's just they're all pretty good to really good. We're trying to figure out the difference.
Luke is disgusted by the fact that you lumped him into you guys when talking about Lenora Sellers, future Saints quarterback.
Just in that context,
I couldn't see him, but I could feel
there was a little bit
cringe.
of pain. A little bit of pain.
Josh Pate here with us. You can also catch him on Bussin' with the Boys on a weekly basis with the Inside the Locker Room. I texted McPherson and them, and I said I was very happy that they're able to work with some actual talent now on the bus at this point in time.
And then you texted me and said, say it to their face, which I tried. It went over really well.
Well, I would be happy to say it to theirs as well. At the next opportunity, Beer Olympics, I'll see you there with your protein shakes.
Sure. Officiating.
Wasted. All right. You bring up Texas, even at a glance. You're going to be in Columbus this weekend. That game is going to be fascinating for a variety of different reasons. They've landed on Sayan as the quarterback for the Buckeyes. We know everything around Arch Manning, no matter what his grandfather will tell you about where or when he is going to be in the NFL. As a future prospect, it is fascinating to see the dynamics just around him alone. What are you hearing, as well connected as you are in the world of college football, about the viability of Arch versus what the public discourse has been?
He's a real human. That's the first thing. So
alleged.
That runs against public discourse. I think the public thinks in comic book terms when it comes to, especially like a high-profile name. You don't get many Arch Mannings. When Tebow came into college football, if you were to fast forward 20 years and have the media cycle exist as it does now, Tim Tebow would be treated, I think, this way. He was already treated in an insane way back then. I expect really good play by him. I stopped short of saying words like elite or great or generational or transcendent because it's the dumbest thing to ever do for a guy you haven't seen play. And I think sometimes when people do that, like, you cannot call 19 different guys potentially generational over a given 5-year span, or else you're fundamentally misunderstanding what generational means. And yet people do it all the time. And what bothers me, and I think I've talked to you about this like many, many times when I've come in here, people want to create sky-high expectations, whether it be for player, coach, or team. In many cases, they're unreasonable, or at least unfair. But because they're rich, it doesn't matter. Or they're very high profile, it doesn't matter. If it doesn't pan out, I'm not the one who made the dumb prediction. They are a bust. They are a failure. They are this or that. No, it may have just been that their season always was going to be what it was. Like maybe Arch will be the 4th best quarterback in the country this year. And you'd look at it and say, only the 4th? Well, he's never played before. That's actually not bad. If his last name was Smith instead of Manning, and he had 3 stars behind his name out of high school, it wouldn't change who the person is. It would just have fundamentally changed your expectations.
No, Arch Smith is a walk-on. He's not a starting quarterback for Texas.
Either way, he sat a couple of years. Either way. My point there is, I don't need him to be what Cam Ward was from Miami last year, because he's actually got competent defensive play. He's actually got competent offensive line play. He's got an entire group around him that is among the best rosters in the country, that if he is really good, pretty good to really good, I've probably got enough to compete for a national title there. So I'm going to go into it with him just like all these other guys. I expect pretty good to really good play. Anything above and beyond that, great. I'm not counting on it, though.
Texas not going to be favored in this game, obviously. Not favored in this game, obviously. But their defense is something that I, at least, again, for the casuals, such as myself, not discussed nearly as much as it should be to give them an opportunity to go into Columbus and win.
Probably got 4 pass rushers that would be the face of most other programs.
Right.
So, I try and envision how games are going to go and, try that at your own peril. But I try and envision this kind of game. Everyone, when you're around a big game, could be NFL, could be college. When you're outside the stadium on game day, you're in the tailgate areas, you'll have like fans from the opposing team. They're coming into town. A bunch of people from Austin will be in Columbus for the first time ever. And they'll interact and they'll mingle and they'll meet each other and they'll say, hey, good luck to you guys. Either way, it's going to be a great game today. That could be a lie. It could be a blowout. Either way. Very, very rarely do you have this combination of high-level talent and unpredictability, because they're both in the 80s in returning production. So no one really knows. So it could be 21-20 either way. It could be 38-13 either way. Someone could be -3 turnovers. That could easily happen here. But I go back to the coaching staffs. As much as people are going to talk about the pass rush with Texas, and they absolutely should, it's incredible. They're trying to backfill for the 2nd year in a row an interior defensive line that got gutted by NFL draft attrition, which is a good problem to have. But I think about 2 new coordinators being elevated at Ohio State. And I think about, on the other hand, the staff continuity and consistency that Sark has. I would argue to you Sark needs this game a lot more. I mean, if Ohio State loses, okay, you're now a game removed from winning a literal national title. If Texas
and
loses,
it's not Michigan.
Yeah, it's not Michigan. And you've got everything in front of you. And Texas would as well. The difference is Ryan Day got over whatever the hump is. Steve Sarkisian, if he wins this game, great. If he loses this game, people start to lump it in with, you got a shot against DeBoer a couple of years ago in the playoff. You lost that one. You got 2 shots against Kirby last year. You went 0-2. You got a shot against Ryan Day in the playoff last year. You lost. You just had another shot against Ryan Day and you lost. Might we have a big game elite coach versus our coach type problem? That stuff, you don't see it coming, and then all of a sudden it's right in your face. It's the topic bar on every Sunday and Monday show. That could happen after week 1 for him.
Josh Pate, the commissioner of, not yet commissioner, soon to be commissioner of college football, in studio with us.
Ryan Day went from fan base wanting his head to entire fan base being okay with Ryan Day standing behind them with a trust fall. So let's talk about trust as it relates to a more local head coach coming up.
Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Josh Pate is fueled by pre-workout. Saw him slug some kind of pink liquid before the microphones turned on, which means we have about 20 more minutes before he goes full nuclear.
What is it, like nuclear apocalypse? Like the name of these pre-workout brands, they get more and more violent and aggressive.
What did you say earlier? Genocide?
Yeah, like just guerrilla murder. Like, I swear, the more I see these things on shelves and friends that use them.
You called mine pink liquid, right?
Pink substance.
That's about as specific as I'd like to get. Yeah, there's a reason there's no label on that bottle.
It's for everybody involved, for our own well-being, really. If we knew what he was fueled by, actually, we wouldn't let him in the studio. But we were just talking about, before we pivot into the actual Week 1 college football conversation, we were talking about Feinbaum.
Yes, we were.
Because Pate is now making, how frequent are your get-up appearances?
I don't know.
Okay.
At least weekly.
But Lucas came in delighted like a small school child and said, "Did you see Pate? Let him get up." I go, "Buddy."
I'm just getting greedy to talk college football like that. I don't know. I haven't seen that side of Mike
something
Greenberg.
deep within Lucas's loins to see college football discussion on Get Up on ESPN in the middle of August. God help us. But Feinbaum, you said you were listening live during the Harvey Updike Toomer's Trees call.
Yeah.
And I cannot imagine what it was like to be a sports talk radio listener, dialed in that way, understanding who these fan bases actually are before they were turned into personalities the way that they are a little bit now, because Feinbaum's show is a spectacle, and you know that the callers are a part of the spectacle. The callers also now know that they are a part of the spectacle, which has kind of changed the dynamic of the show. But that in its purest form had to be, well, walk us through it.
Oh, I love Paul Feinbaum.
Sure.
I grew up listening in Columbus, Georgia, on internet radio, because he did not happen to be syndicated somehow inexplicably in Columbus, Georgia. So they're emanating out of Birmingham at that time. And I remember listening with fascination. It was so formative. I had no idea I had a future in media at the time. But it was so formative because I knew what SEC fans were like because I grew up with them. I was one of them. I knew what my buddies sounded like at lunch every day. We just didn't have a microphone in the middle of the table. Sure. Paul Feinbaum basically put a microphone in the middle of our lunch table in the form of doing a caller-based afternoon drive radio show in the middle of the South in the middle of football season, and I would just sit there listening on a desktop. I just turned the volume up, and it'd be the ambient noise in the house as I was going about my business. And there was one day right after that 2010 Iron Bowl. It was a very toxic time in the state of Alabama. This is Bama just came off a national title, and Auburn's done whatever they need to do to match it, and they're en route to matching it. They're about to go on and win a national title, and a man by the name of Harvey Updike calls in. And I remember at the time, I so vividly remember, I was standing at my kitchen island, computers about 20 feet away, and that dude calls in and says, "Hey, I was at the Iron Bowl. I saw where they put a Scam Newton jersey on Bear Bryant's statue," and Feinbaum doesn't know. Like, you can look back revisionist history and everyone talks about knowing. He didn't know, so he just messes around with it a little bit, and Updike's having none of it. And he says, "Yeah, okay, well, let me tell you what I did." And when he drops, "Let me tell you what I did," you can go watch the documentary. We all know how the rest goes. But sure. I remember my neck craned like that right there because I had never heard someone snap someone back to reality that quick. And you know the admission of a felony is probably imminent at that point.
On syndicated radio.
Just unbelievable. And then when he called in later and he did the apology, he could not help himself. He had to wrap it up. He's got, "I guess I just got too much Bama in me." That was his legal defense.
An incredible line.
And then he drops the "Paul, I just got to say it. I know it's going to upset some people, but I just got to say it. Roll damn Tide." And then he hangs up. I couldn't believe it.
And you know what the best part of it all is? Harvey Updike.
That it's true. That it happened.
It all happened, and it's all true. And he's also not from Alabama, nor a graduate of the University of Alabama, perfectly encapsulating what many of us believe of the Alabama fan base, especially at that time in the middle of that run.
Whomst would have ever had that on the bingo card?
Man.
I figured that got law degree at the very least. I mean, horticulture. I don't know. I figured there had to be something hanging on the wall.
I can't remember what but it was extreme. Like, he named his daughter Alabama.
Yes.
That was his daughter's legal name. Did you watch that documentary?
I did, actually.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Because they had great cameos from Barkley and Cam Newton, obviously
everybody.
a heavy fixture and all that. It was one of the more, when I moved down here, I watched that just out of pure morbid curiosity.
For educational purposes.
For educational purposes. Where exactly is it that I am getting ready to take my next 10 years?
You know what was crazy about that is they produced that. So that was 2010. 2011 is when the big tornado comes through Tuscaloosa. between 40 and 50 fatalities in Tuscaloosa alone. And so the documentary takes on this somber tone. And I think it was Feinbaum did an on-cam, and he said, I really thought after all the toxicity in the state, this is what would bring the state together. And for a period of time, they're kind of showing B-roll as he's talking. For a period of time, there was a great coming together. And I think Bo Jackson did a big charity biking event. And then they slowly pod up audio from his show. And it's like 2 months later, and people are back at each other's throats. And he just kind of throws up his hands on camera and says, I guess this is my life now.
It's worked out pretty good for him.
Josh Pate in studio with us.
We were talking about trust at the end of the last segment. And Tennessee fans are going into this season, I think, trying to, dig deep and figure out what that level of trust is right now with Josh Heupel. We were having the discussion about Heupel quarterbacks at Tennessee and how interesting it is that the one that took off and took this offense to heights now that are kind of expected, the most unheralded one of them all. Joe Milton came in with that skill set and the talent and could throw the ball out of the stadium, and everybody was excited. There were limitations there. Nico, the blue chip status, all of it. Some of the same limitations. Yet it was Hendon Hooker, who they got to look at in spring ball, said, no, we're going to go get our own guy, and still had to go to him. That took this offense to another level. So it got me thinking about exactly what kind of quarterback can click and mesh in this Heupel offense to take it to that level. And then here comes Joey Aguilar from App State, cup of coffee at UCLA, and he comes in. What level of trust do you have implicitly in Josh Heupel to apply what we've seen with his previous quarterbacks taking care of the football and then just trying to get some of that fairy dust from the Hooker run and sprinkling it on Joey Aguilar? Where is your level of trust there with Heupel in 2025?
Fairly low. I got full trust in Josh Heupel. I think it's an impossible task to be able to do what he really wants to do. I mean, we're not just talking about a guy who has the tools or anything like that. That's a very 50,000-foot view way that I think a lot of people are looking at this. You got to understand, like, the nature of that offense is so rhythm-based. You have to have so many repetitions in it because you are throwing to spots. You're not throwing to guys. You're throwing to spots. And it's got to happen like that right there. Hesitation or lack thereof is why they don't turn the ball over a lot, because normally the guy playing for him has had so many repetitions in the offense that he can be trusted, and Heupel will scheme guys open. If you just put the ball in the area it's supposed to be, well, the problem is the guy that's about to start for them wasn't even there for spring. He didn't even know. He may not have known where Knoxville, Tennessee is on a map in spring. So we could actually have a different conversation even about his physical tools. Let's just say he's got the physical tools. Let's say he's got the mental acumen. He's got all that. Even then, I don't have a lot of trust that they're going to come out of the gate and it's going to look like the Tennessee offense that you and I are comfortable with. So then the follow-up is, well, maybe they'll fall back on the run game like they could last year. So then I would ask you, how much faith and confidence you putting in that run game this year? O-line, tailback room, neither look good as last year. So there's just a lot that I want to fall back on. There's a lot that I want to trust in. Believe me, I want to. Like, I know where I live. I'd love to trust in it. I just don't have that right now. So I'm a kind of a net down a notch on Tennessee relative to the public.
Where is that, though, when you say relative to the public? Like, what is that barometer that you're looking at and saying, I'm a little bit below that mark?
I would also be curious to know what your interactions have been, because it seems all over the place.
All over the
Anytime Lucas talks to somebody, I talk to somebody, it's either 10 wins or 6-6 and the bottom's falling out.
I've gotten a whole lot of 9 wins.
Okay.
I've gotten a whole lot of people who will say, I think we may fall off a little bit. And then the follow-up is, so 9 wins. 9 wins is not falling off. It's just not.
I love Tennessee fans so much.
So if I'm wrong, if we straw poll the audience and the broad expectation is between 7 and 8 wins, I'm with you. That's 7 or 8 wins is about where I am. I think the win total's 7, or is it 8.5 right now?
I think it's 8.5.
Yeah. So I would go slide under on that. And look, there's a path. I think we talked about this last time I was in here. It's not the most fun scenario to think about, but if you go 8-4, 4 dogfight, 1 possession losses, and in the aggregate, you stood up for your program and you cast a vision for 2026 and beyond, and you know you got the number 1 quarterback in the country coming in eventually, like, that's a win to me. It's not a playoff season. You're not in Atlanta. It's just like a good, solid bowl game, whatever that means. But I'd take that. If 8-4 is a down year for Tennessee football now, that is a good place to be.
I think for a lot of Tennessee fans, the feet are just kind of kicked up, arms crossed, leaning back, like, all right, let's just kind of see what happens here.
I think it'd be more that if they'd won a playoff game. If they didn't get smoked in the playoff. I think there's still a lot of nervous energy. Like Ohio State people have their feet kicked up. Like, they've got the reason to feel that kind of energy. I don't fault people. First off, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not telling you, hey, just be happy with whatever comes what may this year. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I am not a Tennessee fan. So I'm viewing this from outside the prism a little bit, and I'm saying there's some places where if they go 8-4 this year, if Kalen DeBoer goes 8-4, it's an utter disaster.
Yeah.
And they're having a very uncomfortable conversation, and I'm just listening to it. If Josh Heupel goes 8-4 a year after making the playoff, and you've got 2 wins over Bama the last 3 years, like you've pulled the car totally out of the ditch to where people are saying 8-4 is a down year, I just don't think that's the worst thing in the world.
Josh Pate hanging out in studio with us. Josh Pate's College Football Show. You can check it out via the YouTube channel live. You can get the podcast after the fact, as I enjoyed doing this morning on my drive in. The other thing that Lucas brought up, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week at some point, is he was trying to decide, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so if I'm mischaracterizing it, you'll let me know. But the situations that have happened at Tennessee, with Nico specifically, where it's the biggest story in college football when it happens. The Boo Carter situation comes after that. Then they're doing everything that they can within their power to keep Mike Matthews from hitting the transfer portal and all these different things. And Lucas asked me if I felt, just from an outsider's perspective, if there was any kind of connective tissue between those instances and the University of Tennessee and the way that they go about acquiring talent versus what we're seeing at any other program in the country. My position was you have to be in the money game if you're going to recruit the way that Tennessee, or at least if you're going to roster build the way that Tennessee seems to prioritize recruiting versus portal. Not to say that they've completely ignored the portal, but specific to that. Is there any kind of smoke there when you look at Tennessee relative to what you know about other college football programs and the way that they build their rosters?
I'll say it like this. I get where you're going with that. I still think it's a little maybe too anecdotal to draw definitive conclusions on it. What I do think is, in the net, you should really heap praise on teams that do play the money game at the highest level, but then when you go visit them or when you go watch them, it is a rock-solid culture. And 2 places, really 3 places that exist are Oregon, Texas, and Alabama. And I was around all 3 to varying degrees this spring. I was with them 2 of them a couple of weeks ago. And a lot of guys in those buildings are making money, and they are very competitive in the NIL game. I don't think anyone's better than Texas in the not just paying money, but you got to understand how to structure that game. It's not just, oh, they offered you $800K. Here's $810K. Come to Austin. It's not like that. There's so much layering to it. But then they get the guys in the building, and the vibe is the same way it would feel in 2005 when guys are just playing for that Longhorn logo and they want to get to the league one day, but they're really about team over me. And, conventional wisdom would suggest that's not the way it works anymore. And conventional wisdom case to case is right. That's why you got to heap praise on the places that are the exception to the rule. That's not to say Tennessee's not the exception to the rule. But if you want to tell me that you still have questions because of those instances,
they're just very public instances.
Yeah, I wouldn't push back on that. I would not. I still think that there's a little ways to go before Tennessee can compare themselves to the other programs I just mentioned. That's a totally fair assessment.
Is there a single game on anyone's schedule more important than the importance of the Ohio State game on Penn State's schedule?
No. I would say USC at Illinois is more important.
Oh.
Because I could see Penn State going to Ohio State, losing, and then getting a rematch in Indianapolis, and they could atone. They could make it all right. And you've got proof of performance from James Franklin. It's not like people are doubting whether he's legit. People are flat out doubting whether Lincoln Riley is still legitimate. And the way their schedule sets up this year is they should be an undefeated team when they go to Illinois. Now, again, if you're driving around and you haven't been in the weeds of college football, you may think, Illinois, what's the big deal there? Well, it's one of the best teams in the Big Ten this year. At least they're returning a lot of production from a solid team last year. You've got to go into their building. The entire book on you is you're not physical enough on the lines of scrimmage to deal with week in and week out what the Big Ten offers. If they go in there and they win, let me paint the picture. USC is coming home undefeated with Michigan coming to town, and then a trip to South Bend 2 weeks later. So it could quickly set up where USC is thrown in your face in the middle of a playoff race for the first time in forever, or they go to Illinois and they lose. And the stereotypes are there, and they're proven, And that's probably not the only loss they're going to have if they can't take care of Illinois. And at that point, you're asking questions about Lincoln Riley the same way they'd be asking him about Brian Kelly if he doesn't come through this year, the same way they'd ask him about Hugh Freeze if he doesn't come through this year. So I think that Illinois game, it's not being talked about a whole lot. It's one of the biggest hinge games for a major brand that there is out there.
Count me among the Lincoln Riley doubters. I don't know what it is about that dude, but the way that he has underwhelmed relative to expectation. And I understand he was a wonderkind, right? Like he's earned the opportunities that he's gotten, but like I look at Lincoln Riley and think that there are people who get promoted to the point of failure, and that's kind of where I'm at least from an external view. You're starting to turn the same shade of pink that your beverage indicated that you might. So before you Red Hulk your way out of here, you did your speaker series, your Pate State speaker series, which you can catch on YouTube as well after the fact, as well as the podcast. What was the favorite conversation that you had this time around?
Oh, I'd say Steve Sarkisian. Going to Texas is always awesome because Sark is one of those people who is a legitimate genius. Like when Steve Sarkisian talks, there's so much depth behind what he says. And then, of course, everyone knows how public his struggles with alcohol have been. And he never shies away from it. And he always talks about it. And he always sort of meshes that into what his story is. And, I mean, he's on the scrap heap. And then Saban gives him a shot. And then, I mean, he's the coordinator for the 2020 team that maybe one of the best offenses I've seen in college. And then he gets not a shot at the G5 level or the lower P4 level. He gets Texas immediately. And now he's got them, maybe, we'll see, in a position to compete for a national championship. But when he talks, there's so much why behind the whats when he gives them to you. It's so cerebral. It's like every question he spent a day in a laboratory thinking about the answer to. And you know when you're sitting next to someone and you need to shut up and let them talk. Steve Sarkisian's one of those where I'm going to toss this out there and I'm going to sit back, cross my arms, and I'm going to let you go for a little while. He's really sharp.
It's such a shame that, you know, people sometimes have to go through those levels of adversity to come away with that life experience. But the people that come out clean on the other side, I mean, like you're saying, you can tell in everything that he does that there is a meaningful why behind it.
Yeah. And the other thing that I was there for, I don't think the public will ever see this. He has a session every year where he tells his entire life story to his team. I'm talking about no holds barred, no punches pulled. He lays it out there. It's really emotional, and it is really raw. But I don't think that anyone in that Texas program would say anything other than that's one of the most powerful moments. For the freshmen, especially, when they come in like that right there, that's so formative. Think about the connective tissue that forms between you and the guy that you're going to go to war for.
Josh Pate. Plenty of people in the world of college football would go to war for him. You can check him out, I guess.
Or with. Yeah, either way, we're fighting.
I feel like you get it better than most in your situation. Like for the profile that you now cast among your domain, like I feel you got it pretty good. Now I'm not looking at your mentions on a regular basis.
Yeah, give it some time. I am right now. Give it some time.
You can hang out with him on Josh Pate's college football show. You can catch him on ESPN. You can catch him on Bussin' with the Boys. He's doing everything, and even making time for us, little old us.
Not in that order either.
We appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, you guys.
All right, coming up next, we'll pivot back into some NFL discussion. We'll get you updated on the latest roster cuts. Ben Jones in studio in the noon hour. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
Is that against the law to poison a tree?
Well, do you think I care?
No.
Okay, I really don't.
Okay.
Roll down Tide.
Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Was that Josh Pate or Jose Pate that was in studio with us? The chat has decided to assign him an alternative identity, it seems.
Said I love Jose Pate.
When the Big 12 starts playing games in Mexico or something like that, perhaps that'll be Jose Pate when he's down there covering it.
We're probably not far from that.
No, I mean, you've got Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, talking about making it an international conference, and I heard that in a press conference. Another Ross.
You cannot read a report by Justin Mello that the Titans are waiving Jalen Kimber and bring it to the radio and say, according to my sources.
As far as I know, it's exclusively being reported by 104.5 The Zone Car Insider.
Not cool, man.
Ross Johnston.
How do you know his sources aren't the same as Justin Mello's?
The audacity.
And also, we've said his name like 400 times this show. He's getting ample pub. Go to Justin Mello for all these cuts because we're not talking about him until Ross does it.
Titans clearing out their cornerback room. It's all DBs so far. Bledsoe, Ross, and Kimber.
Stall a little longer. I have to text
that have been reported. By the way, we were talking about neutral sites. Why are Nebraska and Cincinnati playing at Arrowhead Stadium? Make a shred of sense.
For Travis Kelce, right?
Yes.
For Cincinnati?
Oh, my goodness. They're doing all that for Travis Kelce.
Oh, no, don't hop on the Travis Kelce hate now, because when that Taylor Swift stuff was going on, you were eating it up, eating it out of his hands.
You were one of the 17 million people to watch that podcast live, were you?
I may have said that I might have an interest in watching it.
Oh, but when it affects your precious college football, why are we doing this for Travis Kelce? Wish you would be on my side about
Did you
something.
see the way that he was trying desperately to get Pate to say, Joey Aguilar will be the next Hendon Hooker?
Please,
see
Josh,
how he was trying to manifest it. Please, smart, bald college football man, tell me that my quarterback is here to save me and that I'm not in for underwhelming college football results.
Kaharski has reported a few more cuts, but I feel like I can't say them until Ross does.
Well, I also have received a text that I assume Kaharski received, so we can do that here in just a second.
Well, not if Ross doesn't cut it, we can't.
I'm okay with that, but should I text the full list to Ross?
Yes.
Yeah, it has to be.
I will shortly have the first wave of cuts, including 16 total players.
Give us a hint.
Well, I just responded to the text saying, yes, please, share these with me. So I won't be able to do that.
The hint is...
in a second.
Dropped punts from last year.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Did you also get the text? I hate being on the outside looking in.
I assume that we're all on the same text thread. Or at least that we are all receiving some version of the same text. But Jaquan Jackson, out.
The only text I have is from my mom saying, bad news, Lulu isn't doing great. Had to take her to the vet. Think we might have to.
Oh.
Don't joke around like that.
I'm not. That's my mom's dog.
Ramon just had to put his dog Zeus down and
it had nothing to do with him until you made it that. I'm literally just reading this text. I looked to see if I was in a text group with you guys, and no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we're going to have
Why
to
would you be in a text group with us?
That's
beyond
terrible.
the text group that you already went in? Are you talking about me and Ross, famously Titans insiders?
I was talking about. I'm going to go smoke a cigarette for Lulu. Dang it, dude.
Lulu.
Well, in fact, while you smoke that cigarette, go let Ben Jones in.
I'm going to smoke a cig with Ben Jones.
Okay.
He can't get in until I'm done.
We'll see.
I guess he's big enough to make me.
So, yeah, he is big enough to make you. With that, no surprise about Jaquan Jackson.
Yeah.
And I would assume that there are several more that would. I mean, there's not really. Are there going to be a ton of surprises? Like, I'm sure there will be one or two that make us turn our head and say, you know, this, that, and the other about what may. Wait, give him your headphones. He doesn't have headphones. Do you want my pink ones? I can give you my pink ones. Ben Jones has just wandered into the studio. Benny, if you want to hit that on button, we can hear from you at your leisure. It's roster cut down day.
Fun.
I mean, that's got to be one of the worst days as far as an NFL facility goes, yeah?
Yeah, by far. You're sitting in there, you're seeing your friends get cut and don't know what the next step is for them, if they're going to be on another team or have to find a new career. You never know what the right thing to say to those guys are, and because you've worked so hard with them over the past 6 weeks in camp and all off season, you never want to see somebody's dreams end.
Yeah, and Brian Callahan talked about that at length, and there are guys who have opportunities, and it's not a Disney Channel movie, right? Like this is the cold, hard nature of the NFL, whether it be guys getting waived because of injury that are beyond their control, or guys whose performance just simply wasn't up to snuff, and dudes who will be the best football player from their respective city or state at any given point that just aren't good enough to cut it at the top of the 1%, the way that so many of you are able to last that way.
No doubt. It's definitely a hard day in that building. And that's just part of it. That's the business side of it, and that's what makes playing in the NFL special. It's the best of the best, and you got to perform year in and year out.
When did you hit a point where that wasn't even crossing your mind, the idea of being called in and saying, hey, we're letting you go this year? Or do you ever reach that point?
I feel like the older you get, you kind of see the writing on the wall. The first 3 or 4 years before you get that new contract, you're like, man, it could be me. You kind of know by sitting in the room, you're counting guys like, hey, if we're going to keep 8 to 10 O-linemen, you're looking around those first couple of years like, man, that guy's been here for a couple of years. But once you're in there and you're taking every rep as a starter, you kind of know how many reps you're taking in the preseason, where you fall. And a lot of times you don't know. If you're that bubble guy, you're looking right now at the waiver wire. Titans are first on the waiver wire. So you better be better than 31 other centers, 31 other guards, because they're trying to make the best possible roster. No matter, you might be the best 8 or 9 on the Titans, but you might not be the best guy on every other roster that somebody's getting cut.
Former Titans center Ben Jones here with us. How come you're not playing in this sports celebrity golf tournament that Kern and Suckup are in? Well, you didn't make the cut?
That's just for kickers, Kickers and quarterbacks who never got hit in the NFL, their bodies still work.
Who are you taking a shot at? Which quarterback who's never been hit is playing in this tournament?
All I know, me and Ryan Tannehill will be golfing tomorrow morning. Okay. Because we've been hit a lot. Some guys got taken way better care of than we did, and sorry, RT, I know you got hit a lot, and some of that's probably my fault too.
No, I don't bet. Ben,
hey, you never know.
At the end, bud, and not to throw any shade unnecessarily at dudes, but there were some games where I felt a degree of pity for Ryan Tannehill that I didn't think nobody deserves to have as many high ankle sprains at his age as he ended up having because of the way that he was just getting massacred back there.
Yeah, he had a rough last 2 years here, and it was hard to see. Sitting back and watching it at home, one of my good buddies, I'm like, man, that has to suck, just getting drilled. And hey, we're working on our golf game together now.
I'm happy to hear that his golf game is still intact. So Ben's going to hang out with us for the final hour.
Well, man, these things just keep coming in, don't they? What a busy day for the Tennessee Titans.
I hate that laugh.
According to my sources that I've seen, the Titans are releasing a trio of players, including wide receiver Jaquan Jackson, safety Julius Wood, and defensive lineman Joe Gaziano. And yes, those are my sources, Lucas.
Reported by Paul Kaharski.
That's another roster update as the Titans continue to trim down the roster. So we can get into what we saw for the preseason. If Julius Wood comes up with that interception that looked like an interception, is he still on the roster? Probably not. But that's the kind of stuff that dudes are just trying to put on tape to make sure that they can show somebody else that they're worthy of being, if not a rosterable player, on a 16-man practice squad. Ben Jones in studio for the final hour next.
It is 12 o'clock. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. Titans wrapped up the preseason with a 23-13 win over the Vikings on Friday. Cam Ward went 3 of 4 for 36 yards. The rookie got 2 series in. He led a 13-play, 90-yard touchdown drive to wrap up his preseason. Roster cut day is tomorrow. The deadline is 3 p.m. Central Time for NFL teams to go down to 53. A few names have trickled out. Reportedly, according to Paul Kaharski, the Titans are cutting defensive lineman Joe Gaziano, wide receiver Jaquan Jackson, and safety Julius Wood, among a couple of others that have been reported. Big deal in the NFL breaking today as the Washington Commanders are signing Terry McLaurin, the wide receiver who will turn 30 in September, signing a 3-year, $96 million deal. Full contract details have not yet been released. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Final hour. It's a Monday, so Ben Jones is hanging out in studio with us. Brett Kern decided he'd take a Monday off to go play some golf, and we'll get Brett back up to speed on Friday. Preseason concluded, thank God. College football back in earnest this weekend, and now into week 1 with a lot of good college football games on the docket. The NFL not too far in the distance, just under 2 weeks away from the Titans' opening date in Denver. But, Ben, as we await some more of these transactions to come down, really?
More Titans news as sources tell me that the team is releasing UDFA edge rusher Desmond Evans. That is right, Desmond Evans.
Thank you, Ross. Is he just wandering around Middle Tennessee today, speaking these things into his phone? Is he emailing them to you? How are you getting them so quickly?
I asked him to email them to me, and I know he's doing them on their phone because they're coming in as that pesky M4A format that I'm having to reformat to then play.
I just hear wind in the background.
I think his windows are down.
Let's work on your audio equipment, Ross. All right. No, we will not react to transactions until we get the roster update.
No Xavier Restrepo cut news yet.
Well, just hold on to your pants.
I hope he makes it just so you have to keep answering questions.
All right. Ben, when you are on a roster and you see, and because you guys aren't ignorant, like whether you're on social media or not, people ask you questions about, who's going to make it, who's doing well, this, that, and the other. The obsession that fan bases get with guys on the roster who you all know are probably not going to be there, right, wrong, or indifferent. Good teammate, good people, whatever. Like, I'm just always curious how you guys consume what other people are looking at, being like, they don't know what the hell they're talking about on this roster.
Yeah, preseason's hard to – you got guys who are local kids who went to college local. Fans have grown up watching some of these guys in college and have that relationship with them. They want them to succeed.
Sure.
But sometimes it's better talent out there, and they're not the best fit for this team. They might fit better on another team, and – it's hard to tell them to crush their dreams that, hey, this guy's not going to be on this team this year. But you just say, hey, he's a great kid. Hope everything works out for him. We'd love to have him. And you never know how it's going to turn out. This NFL is a crazy world.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't, as you mentioned, it doesn't mean that the dream's dead outright, but it just may not be continuing in the spot that they're presently at. And they'll have 16 total cuts that they'll announce today. I don't know if the team is going to wait up until the 3 p.m. normal transaction submission deadline, or if we'll get those slightly before, but we'll make sure to keep you updated throughout the course of this. Offensive line, a real plus in this preseason across the board. Again, I know they're not looking at stunts and games. Vance Joseph going to throw the house at them when they go out to Denver. But, man, Ben, it's hard for us to not be cautiously optimistic about the state of Titans' offensive line play. I swear to God, for the first time in 5 years.
Absolutely. They're maturing. You're getting some guys. You have Skoronski there, who's in his 3rd year now. You got JC in his 2nd. You bring over Zeitler, who's ancient. He's my age. Love you, Zeit.
14 years in the NFL as an offensive lineman is sicko stuff.
You got to give your hats off to him. That's a maniac. and you got Cushenberry coming back, and you bring over Moore. So you finally get some stability there. And I feel like we have some depth. Like, it used to be like, oh, man, if anybody gets hurt, it's the end of the world. I think we kind of got some depth. And that's this thing, like, you're looking at this over the next week, like, they will bring in new guys. Like, no matter if it's you think you made the cuts today, tomorrow, like, that roster is not set until Thursday of game week. Like, they're going to look and keep looking because they're first on the waiver wire. This is the year the Titans can build some backups, some special teams, guys who can really help the roster. This is how you make your roster deeper, and this is a chance that we can get a lot better this year.
Oh, it's just raising the talent floor. I mean, that's kind of the cycle that they're in right now, and I know people want some level of immediate returns, but this is going to be something that they have to continuously work at, and to your point, it's going to be up to the minute before Denver, and then even after the Denver game, they will continue to churn that bottom of the roster.
Dixie on the F&M Bank chat says, Ben Jones and Kevin Zeitler next to each other would have fed families. Is there a guard that you're like, man, I would have loved to get the chance to play with this guy at some point or another?
Oh, I'm trying to think.
Who's an offensive lineman that was out there in free agency that you wanted the Titans to sign while you were here?
Most good ones never hit free agency.
Yeah.
Your Zach Martins of the world, he never got out of Dallas. Your Zeitler, he never really hit free agency. I feel like he just got traded. He'd sign a big deal, then somebody would trade him to a bad team, felt bad for him. Like, he was a heck of a run blocker and still is. I played with Brandon Brooks in Houston. He went to Philly and had like a run of Pro Bowls. And I'm trying to think who else we had. Shoot, we got one of the better run blockers in free agency. Saffold. Like, he is literally one of the best run blockers that's came through in a while.
Eric asks, is this the year Peter Skoronski makes that Pro Bowl, all-pro level? What's the jump? What is an ideal year 3 jump for Peter Skoronski in your eyes?
Consistency. It doesn't have to be a Pro Bowl. I feel like Pro Bowl, all-pro comes with a team that's winning. You're getting the national media, and it's not usually your first year that you do it. You got to maintain it over a year or two for an offensive lineman because we are a small market, and it's hard to break that because you're going to sit there and look at some of these guards who've been doing it year in, year out. Those guys don't get the media, the big-time primetime game. How many primetime games do the Titans have? Let's be honest.
0.
So
they played it. It was Friday night at Nissan. It's done.
Was it. Yeah.
No doubt. So that's hard to, unless you're a receiver, quarterback, making a lot of interceptions, it's hard for no lineman to make a Pro Bowl here if you're not getting those primetime games.
But Pro Bowl discussion aside, because you're right, that means probably less than it ever has now with the fan vote that's factored in. Just for Peter, you say consistency. So that's the number one thing that you're looking for him in 2025 to reach. I guess in your eyes, like when you think about a ceiling for Peter Skoronski, like what are you picturing if you think about him maximizing his potential there?
Yeah, you want him to see a guy like Zach Martin. Hey, he was a tackle in college. They transitioned him to guard. That's why he was drafted so high. They had that kind of image like, hey, this guy could be a Pro Bowl type guy, could be here for a lot of years. He's supposed to be really good in the run game. And if you play tackle in college and played at a high level, you're supposed to be able to hold up in the pass game. You're supposed to be able to, hey, we don't have to worry about this 3-tech in pass pro. So he's got to be that kind of guy for the Titans where, hey, we can slide away from him on any protection versus anybody. When you have that, it makes the line so much better.
Ben Jones hanging out in studio with us. This is going to make me insane.
All right. More Titans news. The team is waiving UDFA cornerback Clarence Lewis. I like that name, Clarence. But Clarence Lewis has been waived.
Who?
Clarence Lewis.
Hey, I like that name a lot. By the way, you're fired.
Is somebody in the car with him? I feel like I heard some stifled laughter.
He's just riding around doing this with his buddies. I didn't know that there was a Clarence Lewis on the roster.
He was a UDFA out of Syracuse corner. So, again, they're just clearing out that lower-end cornerback depth.
So, here's what I'll say on the front end. 16 cuts are expected today. That does not mean that those are all of the cuts that are going to be made. They're going to continue to keep an eye on what's happening elsewhere in the league. And, of course, the waiver claim process begins. So, as Ben said, this will continue up until the Thursday before the game in Denver. It's not just an initial that we do these things today and that they're done. I feel like it's important to remind people that these cuts will continue in some form or fashion. Roster churn will continue in some form or fashion. So with that, Ben, and I'm going to save the Cam Ward talk for the next segment here in a second, but as you were watching like the kind of depth that the Titans have on the offensive line, because we did see a few more guys play. Yeah. JC, they're keeping him out for precautionary reasons. He's dealing with a hip issue right now. They didn't say it was anything that should bog him down ahead of week 1. But what gives you confidence, or are you confident in the kind of depth that the Titans offensive line currently has? Because they turned over so much of that room in particular after they were able to get rid of Nick Petit-Frere, and it seems like they were in no short hurry to do that. Respectfully, they have found a bunch of different guys that have played multiple positions. Obviously, Levin is somebody who they were counting on and gave them quality reps during the preseason.
Yeah, you look at that right side of the center, right guard, right tackle this week. Those guys played meaningful snaps all preseason, did well, and that's who you're looking at. Like, hey, that's your 6th, 7th, and 8th guys on your roster right now. They played a lot of snaps this preseason, and that's what you want as your backups. Like, they got a lot of reps versus all the joint practices, all those reps. Those are valuable for them because they don't get all those reps during the season. They're reading cards and doing that, so they're banking all those reps. So when you need them during the season, hey, they can go back to that. Like, hey, they have game reps. They have how to prepare for practice and getting ready, being that guy. So those reps are invaluable for them, and I think they did a great job.
Yeah, a lot of the situations that they were placed in, it seems like they tried to maximize what those were, and that's what the preseason is more than anything else. For you, because we talked to Brett about how hard it is for him when they had 11 guys figured out on the punt team, and then 7 of those guys are gone after roster cut day, and then that's all the things that you've been trying to figure out from a lineman's perspective, understanding that there are a lot of dudes in that room to begin with, and that there's going to be some things in flux. You're going to have to rely on different pieces and parts throughout the course of the season than you might ideally start out with. How does that kind of impact you and your position and the ability to do your job when you're responsible, at least you were responsible for orchestrating so much of what goes on up front?
Yeah, when you get new guys in the room, you got to get them familiar with the calls, how we do things, the meeting schedule, how you're supposed to act in the meeting room. Like, hey, this is a brotherhood. Like, we hold each other accountable. It's no bad feelings. Like, hey, if I call you out in the meeting, I call you out on the practice field, like, I'm just trying to do it so the coach doesn't have to do it. It's a lot better coming from me than a coach calling you after practice. And guys usually take it a lot better from a player than a coach. And doing that process, it's a learning curve for guys. Like, every O-line room in the league is different. And I kind of try to bring them in, like, hey, this is how we do it here. We're going to hang out every Thursday night. We're going to go to dinner. We're going to spend a lot of time together. We're going to make a bond here as an offensive lineman. And I feel like that unit comes together faster than other position groups because we hang out so much more. The hardest thing in the NFL is the special teams. The first couple weeks, it's going to be block punts. It's going to be big returns because those are the guys that are getting claimed in the whole waiver wire. And they're like, hey, we got to get this backup linebacker in, these backup safety corner, and they're throwing them straight in on punt, and that's when punts get blocked. That's when all that, because they haven't had communication. Most linemen you're claiming aren't playing unless you just have an emergency.
Do a little stock up, stock down with Ben Jones?
Yeah, we could do some stock up, stock down. We'll open the trading floor. We'll see if we have more roster updates coming up next. Erectile dysfunction can wreck your confidence. It can impact your relationship, your mental health, and even your sense of identity. But there's good news. There's real help. Since 2014, the Tennessee Men's Clinic has helped thousands of men get back to feeling like themselves. These aren't cookie-cutter treatments. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is urology-based and staffed with multiple licensed providers who specialize in men's sexual health. They use proven treatments tailored to your specific situation. No one size fits all. Whether you're dealing with mild or moderate ED, performance issues, or even conditions like Peyronie's disease, their medical team will work with you to create a plan that gets results. often with options most men didn't even know existed. Too many guys rely on pills that don't work or come with nasty side effects. There are better treatments. Sometimes it's a combination of treatments that finally unlock the results that you've been missing. So call them today at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or book online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Ben Jones is hanging out. Before I get interrupted, do we have any more roster updates to share?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. I think the team is going to embargo these things until a little later in the afternoon. So you will see the full official release. At least the first round of cuts will be released by the team later this afternoon. I'm sure there are transactions that are out there on the internet for you to consume. We will not talk about them until we have Ross exclusively reporting on them. We had a preseason finale on Friday night at Nissan Stadium. Ben, pretty good crowd.
Yeah, it looked good. I was coaching some high school ball, so I recorded it.
Yeah.
And watched it this weekend. But yeah, it looked great.
It looked, and listen, last year was tough for a variety of different reasons. But that was more people at Nissan Stadium than I saw past week 3 during the regular season last year. And I don't know if that's just because of Cam, and that was the first home game for people to see, for people to be a part of. But I want you to kind of, it's a very small sample size that the quarterback has played. But from what you are able to discern, from what they are asking him to do, what is a reasonable level of expectation for this player coming in to a team like this one?
I think he's doing well. Like, he's making throws on time. He's putting the ball where it needs to be, and he's protecting it. Like, instead of the first third down, instead of him trying to force it, hey, he just runs for 3 or 4 yards. Hey, punting's okay. Like, don't turn the ball over, and you'll get the ball back. And next drive, they go out there and make a play, go down all the way down, 13 or 14 play drive and score. That's what you want him to do. Make the plays that are given to him. Don't try to be a superhero. And, hey, it's okay to punt sometimes. Like, don't turn them over. Don't put your defense in a bad situation, and you'll win a lot of games that way.
How do you have a conversation with a guy that does have that wannabe superhero type of thing? Because, like, you understand, depending on what level of college football you're coming from, like, these dudes have had to will teams to win before. And so it's got to be, as a teammate, that has to be kind of a delicate balance to strike on, hey, you're doing too much. Like, I understand you're trying to help us.
Name names.
Sweet angel. He's still taking strays, even though he's had shoulder surgery a month ago. But, like,
no, I want to know what quarterback Ben has played with that's like this.
I thought you were telling me to say Will
Levis.
Levis. I mean, respectfully.
Was Matt Schaub? Were you having to reel in Matt Schaub? Like, hey, dude, you got to chill out.
Hey, we got a record, 6 straight games with pick 6 with him.
Oh, no. That's right.
That's an NFL record?
Yes. It was. I think
oh, my goodness.
I had more tackles that year than I ever wanted to have.
Was TJ Yates a hero ball guy?
That was your form.
TJ, I'm trying to think. TJ didn't play that year. I think they went to Case Keenum instead.
That's right.
TJ was the year before when Schaub got hurt and took us to the playoffs.
But, like, have you had to have conversations like that with dudes before about, like, hey, we just need you to do what's being asked here? And like you're saying, it's okay to punt.
Yeah. I'm thinking one year in Houston, I had 6 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And we won the division. Like, it was like, hey, you got other good players around you. Do what you have to do. Just get the ball where it needs to be. Hand the ball off. We had good running backs. And, hey, you live a fight another day. You got a good defense out there. You had J.J. Watt, Cushion, Clowney, all those guys. Like, you have other pieces. You don't have to do it yourself. And I think it comes from upstairs and the head coach, like, hey, don't put them in a situation to not to succeed. Like, shrink the game plan. Like, hey, this is the role. And you talk about it all week. Like, you don't have to be a hero this week. Hey, we're going to make these. We're going to get in 3rd and short. We're going to get you in a situation to win. Like, it's not just you got to build up on it all week and don't put him in the situation.
Have you had a more insane teammate than Brian Cushing?
Hands down, my favorite teammate.
Brother.
And the wildest teammate. So many good stories.
Give me your most FCC safe Brian Cushing story. One that you could tell comfortably in front of your children. There may not be one.
He would come in after after warm-ups and throw up every day and holler at the person next to him. Are you scared? Just hollering at his face while he's throwing up red stuff. I'm like, Cushion, you drank way too much creatine, way too much Red Line. And you look at his locker, he had 2 lockers, one for supplements, one for all his stuff. I'm like, there's a reason for this, Cushion. Like, you just almost exploded your heart before the game.
I mean, every day, though, he seems like he's like that. And you know, the most exposure that I think I ever had to that was like just that Hard Knocks that you guys were on. You were on that Hard Knocks.
I was.
You were a star of that. Vrabel, I can't remember. Cushing, I'm sure. I can't remember the name of the UDFA pass rusher that they highlighted that year that didn't end up making the team. But I remember that very viscerally, just Brian Cushing being a crazy person always.
That was him every day at practice, every day in the locker room. But that's what you loved him. You had a guy who broke up camp for you, a guy that you could look at it. He brought energy and made football fun. Like, I'm glad I didn't have to block him on Sundays, but he was special every day in the locker room, I tell you that much.
Ben Jones hanging out here with us, as he will every Monday during the football season.
Shall we open up the trading floor?
We shall, if Robert's ready.
Oh, yeah, after this YouTube ad gets done playing.
Okay. I tried to.
You guys want to listen to it?
I mean, we can. Yeah. No, I don't know. What is it?
Drive sober or get pulled over.
Oh,
that's a great message.
It's
a great message.
Oh, trading floor is open or closed. I don't know what that noise is for.
So this is for the entire preseason, not just the game on Friday. Decisions are being made. Players are being cut. Players are being kept. Players are being claimed. Stock up.
Where's that cow coming from?
Stock down. Yeah, the cow really just sneaks in.
You guys did this last week. It's just in his music.
Let's just go ahead and how about we start with the preseason MVP for the Tennessee Titans? We've been making jokes saying they should be handing out an MVP for the preseason. It should go to Jackson Dart. But if they were to give a trophy for the Tennessee Titans preseason MVP, who is it and why should it be Cedric Gray?
Because it should be Corey Levin. Because we're doing preseason, right? And Corey will probably play some snaps at some point this regular season.
I think you're just saying that because Ben's here, but yeah.
No. And also, I like Corey. But I think that he has done a hell of a job. I genuinely think
he
that is an
has.
unheralded situation.
It's the best spot that we feel depth-wise,
especially
on the offensive line.
Especially when a fan base is just sitting around waiting for you to stop playing so Lloyd Cushenberry can play. Like, that's not an easy thing to do. And I think Corey's had a great attitude about it. I think he's graded out pretty well. If you look at Pro Football Focus and things like that, that's not the end-all, be-all. And I'm sure he hasn't done everything perfectly. But like Ben, Corey has done a good job.
He has. And that's what you want as a guy who's been there for a while. He's one of the veterans in that O-line room. Hey, your job as an offensive lineman to not make mistakes and go out there and not be noticed. Like, he's going there and it's been a clean slate. He's done his job. And if you're not getting flags, you're not getting your name called out during the game, you did a good job at an offensive lineman. And that's what he's done. He's been a solid guy for him the whole preseason.
Now, I'll hear you on Cedric Gray because he's helped himself the most.
He really has. He's popped in every game. 19 tackles. He's either led or been tied for the team lead in tackles with every game. A sack and interception that did get called back.
Yep.
But it just has felt like Cedric Gray's been flying around those 3 games.
No doubt. And you can tell the difference when you had Jeff and all those big guys in front of him. He is running free. And that's what you want as a linebacker right there. Hey, yeah, go ahead and double Jeff, but this guy's going to make the tackle behind him. And that's what you want him, like, hey, if we don't block this guy, so what's your poison here? You going to double team Jeff and not get up to the backer, or try to man block Jeff and block Gray? So pick your poison right now, and he's playing really well.
Well, it's hard not to imagine him starting next to Cody Barton in week 1, but James Williams is going to play, which we've talked about.
Yeah, for sure.
Do we get way too caught up in starters? I mean, offensive line, maybe it's a different discussion, right? Because you want as little turnover as possible. Mm-hmm. But is that something that we talk too much about who's going to be with the ones when James Williams, they're going to need James Williams Sr. 100%. This season?
It's a matchup league. If you're going into a week that they have a really versatile running back, they throw the ball a lot to, you might want James Williams in that week. You want him to cover. You want him to be a rangy guy back there. And that's what he's done. He's played safety. He's supposed to be able to run sideline to sideline and cover. Like, if you got a team that's going to line up and run the ball down your throat, you want Cedric in there. Like, it's a matchup league, and that's what this is. A defense is about. You're trying to get the best matchup out there to set yourself up on defense to win.
He's a heat-seeking missile, Cedric Gray. I mean, he likes to thump dudes, and that was something Barton's been talking about before they put the pads on. So I don't know how physical they were allowing them to get in the the voluntary stuff, the OTAs, mandatory minicamp, and things of the like, but. That's he has acquitted himself very well. So I'll hear you on that. But also, can we give some additional votes to Van Jefferson? Van Jefferson game on Friday?
Made a play.
Yeah, big bounce back.
Also, that corner fell down. That corner fell down.
He finished. Hey, that's what happened.
No, I know.
Still outran everybody else.
He was very fast.
He looked really fast.
He's a lot faster than I thought he was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But that corner fell down.
Wearing that number 11. I mean, it just...
Stop it.
Van Jefferson was good. It definitely...
The way my blood pressure just spiked.
Stock up after Friday. But stock down. Stock down for the Titans preseason as a whole.
Well, the depth cornerback room is being cleared out decisively. They are bad. They are objectively stinky. And listen, I'm not going to say there are not 31 other teams that have great cornerback depth, but never has. Titans fans, I'm sure, have some mixed emotions about L'Jarius Sneed and whatever you're trying to assign to him. I think some people have been unfair about it, like, oh, he doesn't want to play for the Titans. He's just, getting his checks and shutting himself down, this, that, and the other. There's zero indication of that. And you don't work your way to the NFL and to one of those big money deals without being somebody who gives great effort and cares. But regardless of what your personal feelings are about L'Jarius Sneed, you need him out there. And the Titans' cornerback depth at every turn is making backup quarterbacks, reserve offensive skill players look like world beaters. And that just simply can't be so. They're going to be operating on a razor-thin margin this year.
I feel like I'm having a hard time feeling any better about this pass rushing unit now than I was on day one of training camp. I know sacks aren't the end-all, be-all, but in 3 preseason games, they got home 4 times. 2 of those were first-teamers. One was Jalen Harrell in the fourth quarter Friday. The other was Gaziano, who, according to PK, has been cut late in the Falcons game.
Sorry, according to Ross.
According to Ross, according to PK. So you have Cedric Gray, who got home sharing a sack with Carlos Watkins in that Falcons game, and then Jihad Ward with the first quarter sack in the Bucs game. But I don't know, Ben. It just didn't feel like we were watching quarterbacks getting heated up in the pocket. Femi Oladejo, it was so weird to watch. You could speak on this so much better, obviously. I feel like he's getting off. When the ball's being snapped, I feel like he's getting that jump, but he kind of just gets washed out of the play very quickly. And he's a young player and a developmental player, but I have a hard time feeling much better about the pass rush than I was at the start of camp.
Yeah, preseason is about who can win one-on-one matchups. You're not going to put in all your blitzes, all your stunts in preseason. You want to see it. You want to go out there and let guys rush. Like, hey, can these guys win on a one-on-one rep instead of having to be schemed up for a sack? It's nice to have that, but when it comes down to it, we're going to have to scheme guys up this year. We don't have the edge talent that we've had in the past and that a lot of teams have. We got Jeff in the middle. You got Big Sweat when he's back. Like, you got to use those guys. You know they're going to slide to Jeff, so you're going to have to work games on the backside. You're going to have to dial up some pressures, what they do well in the defense, and you confuse people. Like, you can't just line up and rush forward with this D-line that we have because you don't want to put that stress on your DBs, and you want them to get rid of the balls because they have a blown assignment and we confuse guys. Like, the ball's got to come out their hands. The longer they hold it, the longer our DBs got to hold up.
If you want to find out how good a D coordinator Denard Wilson is, this is going to be the year.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and listen, we can't assume that special teams is going to be completely fixed because they got put in a lot of bad situations as a defense last year, and that's completely fair to acknowledge. But Denard Wilson, it's kind of like the Josh Heupel proposition. Like, it's going to have to be his best coaching job ever at Tennessee this year. Denard Wilson is really going to have to make chicken salad out of chicken bleep.
I mean, he's hamstrung personnel-wise when it comes to being able to affect the quarterback. I mean, you mentioned
literally, metaphorically, there's probably some hammies going on out there. God knows.
You mentioned special teams. They had a big bounce back as a unit Friday, I thought. Johnny Hecker told us last week that it was a really sloppy operation in Atlanta. Joey Sly, 63-yarder. Johnny Hecker, booming punts. I think he averaged 52 yards per punt on Friday. And Chimere Dike back there for those first couple of punt returns.
I wonder, because Prochet played some offense and got decleated. God help him.
He held on to the ball.
Yeah, but then he threw his hands up in the air afterwards. I don't know if he was pissed at the quarterback, if that was kind of like, hey, what are you doing? We're in the middle of the field, and I just got decapitated by a fourth stringer in the fourth quarter of a preseason
I thought he did a first down motion for one. I thought he was just because it was a huge hit.
When I looked up at the television broadcast, because I saw him getting the wind knocked out of himself on the field. Maybe he did the first down, but I looked up and he was, very emotional with his hands. I feel
like he got up and was like, everybody saw that hit, but I caught it, and it's a first down.
Okay. He was expressing some level of frustration, whether it was the guy that almost killed him or the quarterback that put him in a position to almost get killed. Tough scene for Trevor.
Yeah, he went airborne on that one.
Yeah, that was tough. So when you're watching, like, did you play against Draymond Jones?
I think he played D lineman, that like nose guard 3 technique for Denver that year.
For sure.
Like when I saw him in the locker room, I was like, "You're like little now. Like you used to be nose. What happened?" He has morphed his body in all different roles. That shows you what kind of guy he is. He's able to adapt and do whatever the defense wants. It's crazy to see.
So he has some versatility. They're going to use him. They're going to deploy him on the edge this year. He's going to be one of their primary edge guys, and he's built significantly different than Arden is.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the trend that they're moving towards, whether it's Jihad Ward, who's a bigger body on the edge. Arden's a situational guy at best. How would you see them trying to work somebody like Femi Oladejo in, because he has to play to get better at this, but there's no question that he's the 4th best of a respectfully questionable edge group.
Yeah, you find ways to get him in. You run games with certain young guys, like, hey, you don't put him in a situation where he could get chipped, or where he's got to think, like, hey, you're going to be on the man side of the protection, and hey, you're going to the back. You're not going to have to cover him. We're going to run games with you. We're going to do what you do best. We're not going to sit there and say, hey, you're going to go beat this left tackle on a one-on-one block every play. Like, they're not going to put guys in those situations. Like, hey, we're going to get rid of the ball fast. We need you to, hey, get off, make one move, and the ball should be out. Like, don't put them in one-on-one situations and just rush forward, because it's not going to be good for us.
As an opposing offensive line, though, how quickly do you identify when those guys are in the game? Because you're like, all right, we can run to this side of the football. We can definitely get some push here.
We have a whole part of that, like when we'd play Von Miller, you play against Aaron Donald, we'd have a part on that call sheet, but like, hey, they're out the game, we're taking a shot. Like, we know we can hold up in pass pro. We know we can, hey, do a play-action pass here. Like, we had whole game plans like, oh, they're out now? We're going fast. They're off the field. We're going to take shots. We're going to throw the ball now. Oh, they're in. We're going to cut you. We're going to run away from you. We're going to chip you. So you have a whole section of your whole game plan for when a Von Miller's in there, when a Aaron Donald's in there, when a J.J. Watt was in there. Like, when they're out there.
Ben Jones hanging out in studio with us.
Anyone else for stock down? Looking across the board at preseason.
I'm not like down on DK, but Iamaner's clearly ahead of him. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm just kind of like wait and see with Chimere DK, and that Iamaner is exceeding expectations for a 4th-round rookie. So I'm not down on him, but he's clearly not as far ahead as Alec Iamaner is, who I think there's a scenario in which he could be a starting player sooner rather than later.
Yeah. DK or Iamaner?
Yeah. Iamaner. No, DK has some tools to utilize, but there's moments, and we played a clip of Cosell last week at some point talking about just some of the nuances that DK doesn't have yet, that Iamaner is ahead of the curve on, and how that's going to assist a quarterback. You think I'm off on that at all, Ben?
Not at all. I think his football IQ is just so far ahead of what he is as a rookie.
Iamaner.
Yes, by far. Like, the way he puts his body in positions, the way he sits down on certain route combinations, I think he's ahead. Like, a lot of it takes a couple years for guys. I think he's a very intelligent player, and I think he's going to see the field a lot. Like, he's I think he might be our number 2 right now. If we had to go out there, like, you got Van Jefferson, like, he's hit or miss, but as a young guy, why not play that young guy and put him in situations, because they're going to roll the coverage to Ridley over there. Like, put him in good situations. Give him the ball. He's a bigger receiver. He's physical. Let's see what he can do with the ball in his hand.
He almost had a touchdown reception on Friday night.
Well, and we knew he was the more well-rounded player coming out than DK. He was drafted after DK in that 4th round.
DK was the first of the 3 4th-round pass catchers that they took.
Which was interesting.
I know.
Because I think Helm and Iamaner are going to have a bigger impact in the passing game this year. And we'll see if DK is the punt returner on day 1. Again, he was receiving those early punts on Friday in the preseason finale. Josh Wiley is a stock down after this preseason.
There's been no stock. Respect, like, he's not like a bad guy or anything like that, but he's just clearly not in the picture. So as the cuts come down, whether it's today or tomorrow, Wiley's name is somebody that I would very much expect to see. Now, I mean, he could potentially end up in New England with a coaching staff, most of a coaching staff that drafted. I swear to God, they just took everybody that was here and moved them up to New England.
They're up there
at this point in time. But I think it's just stock down preseason football. I'm glad it's over. I don't like watching it. It's very good to have real football in our lives, meaningful football.
Can't believe we used to do 4.
I love 4. I got the week off last week. Now you practice in full pads an extra week. You're like, oh, my goodness.
Well, Benjamin, we appreciate your time. It's always good to see you. Thanks for being flexible.
Absolutely.
We'll, when we talk next Monday, we'll have actual college football to talk about with you.
Go Dogs.
We're looking forward to it. That's Ben Jones hanging out with us. Last call for phone calls if you got them. Updates and polls coming up next. Welcome back to the show. Wrapping up for the day. Good stuff from Ben Jones, Josh Pate, Holly Rowe. We really tried to mail it in on a Monday, didn't we? A lot of good guests. You can check out the podcast after the fact. In fact, Lucas is supposed to be telling you to check out the podcast. He's supposed to be telling you about a great many things, because there's a great many things that I keep getting emails about that you have going on that I will be participating in some, maybe, of these things. Like what you're doing Friday.
What I'm doing Friday.
What are you doing Friday? What are the two of you doing Friday that I don't want to be a part of?
The show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yazoo Brewing in Madison. Come join us. Kicking off the college football season.
And isn't there another remote that I'm trying to weasel my way out of currently?
I don't know if it's confirmed.
Okay.
It's on the schedule, so I'm going to talk about it. We're going to be at Titan's house next Tuesday.
Which is closer to my house than the studio is in Germantown.
Yes.
Ooh, that means I know where we're going to lunch afterwards, Robert.
Ooh, don't tell me. Okay, tell me.
Oh. Maybe I won't do the
sandwiches.
I'll show up for lunch.
Oh, no.
Where you had to pregame with a gas station corn dog because you didn't think that the giant Italian sandwiches that Little Hats has would be sufficient for you.
I love Little Hats.
Now, Lucas doesn't, though. Lucas was famously up in arms about the price of the pasta.
Oh, the sandwiches are great.
Yeah, but I'm
not going to pay $18 for a cacio e pepe. I can make it in 10 minutes at home.
But they do have your favorite ingredient of all time. Guanciale.
They do. It's hard to find.
I love when we say things at the same time.
It's like that. One of the producers on Fox sent me this clip of these two.
No, you're not going to do this. I don't care about her. Do not talk to me about your other work wives, your other producers. We know that you're big and fancy and you're running around.
Ian, that he's better at this than you are.
It's too far. It was too far.
He started it.
I didn't start anything. You're the one talking about your other work. Oh, my producer in Fox, Ian, told me about all those funny things. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care. Nobody in the chat cares. Nobody around here cares about Ian. We don't care. Ian, if you're listening, we don't care.
Have the two of you seen this clip of these Australian twins that are talking about some kind of like robbery at gunpoint, but they're speaking in concert, like they are reciting things. They're probably in their 40s or 50s. Robert, you know the clip that I'm talking about?
Yes, Ian is very late. This is an old clip. It's like the two twins from Shining saying, like, yes, they like walking the whole
talking about
thing.
their mom and like mom is the word that they use is mom, but like talking about like a robbery at gunpoint, but they're saying every word at the same time. I thought it was AI. I thought it was not real, but then I work with the two of you on a regular basis, and you two do it almost as often.
Now, see, when I bring up funny clips, like, hey, look at this clip. Hey, look at this. You're always like, I don't have time for this. I'm
Herbie
busy.
sends me funnier clips than you do. He sends me all manner of AI cat videos.
How many times are we going to do this, dude? How many times are we going to do this?
The app getting a lot of run on this promo.
Well, you know, it's good because the Tennessee game is important, and people need to know that they can hear Ramon Foster and Mike Keith for the first time doing the real thing. I know that they did the spring game together in a combine-esque fashion, but this will be very exciting. Should we have Ramon on this week? I mean, I suppose he was on the show earlier because he called in to point out some more information that we did not have context for.
I will talk to the big fella.
Okay. Yeah. You negotiate.
The big Raguvius Fasuvius.
So beyond that, I mean, I guess we really didn't talk about the other college football games that were played this weekend because Iowa State and K-State was the most entertaining by a mile. That was the one that I saw by far and away the most of. Did you consume? Oh, that's not true. I watched Tarleton State.
The Titans have waived defensive tackle Josiah Bronson. That is right. So sorry, Josiah. Thank you for your service, but you will be waived.
All right. Very good. Thank you for your service.
Just a little added commentary.
Well, see, the problem is we've turned him into a character, so now he thinks he can vamp.
He's starting to lean.
God, I hate when that happens. Like, just shut up and do your job,
It's
man.
exhausting, isn't it?
Like, who the hell would even want to do that? Like, just talk on a show like this. God.
This show is just filled with people that got a job and then overstepped their bounds.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. We don't exist if we don't overstep and try and turn it into something that is wildly successful for reasons that are very much beyond me.
We've turned this from the island of misfit toys to the island of relevancy.
All right. So 2 things that I can tell you about the Titans cuts that will be come out in full by this afternoon. Josh Wiley and Xavier Restrepo are not on the initial list of players who are going to be waived today.
I've been happy with.
That's specific to today. Now, there are always things that we are surprised by when it comes to what happens on an initial roster. Last year, it was famously what? 5 tight ends. 5 tight ends being on the 53-man roster. There were 5 tight ends on that roster the whole way through. It was one of the more perplexing things that they did. But no Restrepo today, no Wiley today. There are several of these waivers, players that have been waived, I guess is what I should say, that have been reported. But tomorrow is the deadline. They reserve the right to make more cuts tomorrow ahead of that 3 p.m. Central Time deadline. Whether 2 players like that we believe have an outside chance or would have a really, really long shot to make it, specific to Wiley and Restrepo, worth keeping an eye on and to see who they might try to squeeze onto the practice squad as well. It's either Mason Kinsey or Xavier Restrepo, right? Practice squad?
Yeah.
It would be tough to imagine. I mean, I suppose there's 16 spots, but it would be tough to imagine a world in which both of them were kept.
Kind of like buying 2 different kinds of chocolatey cereals. You just need one.
Mm-hmm.
We just need Reese's Puffs.
Who's the off-brand? Oh, I thought you mean like
No, he's saying like you
Cocoa
don't need
Pebbles versus Reese's Puffs.
You don't need
Yeah, you don't need Count Chocula's Choco Puffs when you have the actual ones at home, which would be Restrepo? Would Restrepo be the name brand?
Titans fans want him to be the name brand.
But in reality, it's Kinsey.
I mean, Kinsey has been here for 6 years for a reason. Or at least, I think this is coming up on his 5th, maybe not 6. Anyway, polls?
It's the Thuggish Ruggish polls. 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 Update those polls. Lucas, do it now.
Oh, man, that's fantastic. We need nothing but a cappella poll opens from here on out.
The fact that this show does as well as it does is so beyond me.
Presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Whose stock is up after the Titans preseason? Brian says Cedric Gray, James Williams, and Gunnar Helm.
Yes.
I agree with all those. John says the Titans offensive line. We already know who the starters will be in Denver, but I think the Titans have 2 good backup center/guard options with Levin and Slater.
You know, I wouldn't pretend to know enough about offensive line play to be able to evaluate Slater, but he hadn't come up, right? Which is probably a good thing. I mean, he's not noticeably bad in these games that fans would jump on him and be like, oh, look, he's getting beat this, that, and the other way. Like, there hasn't been much dialogue around Jackson Slater.
Whose stock is down after the Titans preseason? John says Femi. He did some nice things, but the Titans need him to get to the quarterback, and he's just new to the position, so it's going to take time. Eric says Tyjae Spears. Good talent, just stays injured.
Yeah, man, that sucks.
It does. And so what are we saying? It's more likely than not that he is not on this initial 53?
He's on the initial 53. Oh, well, I think that he is a player that would qualify for injured reserve at the start of the year, however it is that they have to get him there.
Which would not have him on.
Which means not occupy an active roster spot.
Which means Khalil Mullings and Julius Chestnut. Come on down.
It should, although watch Mims make it and all of us be off base because we've been talking about the 2 of them the entire time and not Jordan Mims.
Who's the Titans preseason MVP? Daniel says Cedric Gray easily. A lot of people saying Cedric Gray. Jabari says the training staff, the team stayed mostly healthy through the preseason with the exception of Tyjae Spears, which is a good point to be made. Ryan says Bill Callahan.
Well, yeah, they're giving edicts like Cam Ward. Don't move. Don't don't have any unnecessary movement whatsoever that would cause you to get decleated in a preseason game.
What is the biggest storyline of the 2025 college football season? Tyler says, can guys like Brian Kelly and James Franklin finally meet the high expectations of them? Coach Woodruff says, can Texas match the hype? Can OSU beat Michigan? Can Vandy be relevant in the SEC? Karen says how Arch Manning fares. I think I'd go with Josh Pate, and balance seems to be the overarching theme. A wide open race.
More balanced than it's been.
It's about to kick off. Those are the polls.
That's the show. Appreciate you guys hanging out. If you didn't get in with us, Blaine and Zach are coming up next. Robert and I will be back on Primetime tonight. We're going to do Primetime tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Take Thursday off. See you then.
Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.